Hey, second base, hey, Walrus. Give a few minutes for other people to get here. Look at the D sword, I know. I just noticed that in that intro screen there's like that Plaza building broken, there's 4 D swords in the air near it. I can notice all this stuff now. Well, I forgot about the super tip thing. I didn't get any for the last 2 streams, did I? Shit. Phew. Okay, good. Insane. YouTube too? Alright. Right. The last time we played this game took a strange comedic turn. What's up, Vosh? All the killing. Something got funny. Boy. Since she was a little girl, Kozai had possessed a peculiar ability to view the minds of others. By this affliction, Kozai managed to live a somewhat peaceful life by approaching her power in her own way, hiding it from others. Change had begun with mirrors. Entering high school, Kozai began to see her reflection in mirrors more and more frequently throughout her daily life. First, it was only coincidence. Turned about twice a day. Time went by, the frequency gradually increased. Kozai P would encounter people holding mirrors more than 10 times in a single day. These encounters are particularly suspect, just people passing her by on the street holding a mirror, passing and fixing her makeup in the bathroom. However, regardless of whether these occurrences are mere coincidences or indeed intentional, Kozai would almost always see her own reflection in the mirrors. Eventually, all those who held the mirrors began to make noises akin to suppressed laughter. In their minds, they called out to Kozue with the words, "Who are you?" The classroom or on campus en route to school while shopping, everywhere Kozue went, these people would appear. There's not a specific person perpetrating it, a different person every time. In Kozue's eyes, anyone who possessed a mirror began to look suspicious. Anyone who suppressed or laughed around her began to look suspicious. Before long, even those without mirrors began to look suspicious, and Kozue began to face hallucinations in which they would all call out to her and would, "Who are you?" Became nearly neurotic, and voices present in the back of her head refused to leave. One day, Kozue mumbled something to herself in the mirror.
お前は誰?
It's her. Not saying those words, Kozue felt an immense sense of fear. That told her she truly did not know the answer. And with the same faces as addressed her from the other side of the mirror.
お前は誰?
Ever since that day, Kozue could no longer speak, being able to look at herself in the mirror. Even still, the question of "Who are you?" would continue to assault her. I didn't even know whose voice it was inside her head anymore. With another facet of her peculiar ability, which can do a broken fact machine, Kozue would receive the voices of other people indiscriminately, regardless if she desired to hear them or not. She herself had no say in the matter. And thus, Kozue's mind was torn to shreds. One day in her second year of high school, Kozue was cleaning the classroom at the end of the day. As she tidied up, 3 female classmates of hers, all with mirrors in her hand, whispered something among themselves. Mirrors, suppressed laughter, then came the question, "Who are you?" Had it truly been the inner voice of one of her 3 classmates? Or had just been a hallucination on Kozue's part? Didn't matter. The reflection in the mirror found its way to Kozue's eyes, both of which were trembling in fear. A moment, Kozue's vision blurred. Had it been intentional or a coincidence? Didn't matter. The very moment, Kozue's mind, after facing endless strain for well over a year, finally broke, been accompanied by the sound of glass shattering. On realizing this, Kozue shrieked, a scream from the deepest depths of her lungs. In the corner of her eye, Kozue saw her D-sword, all of it for the very first time. Then proceeded to attack her 3 classmates. The hands of the 3, each of which were holding a mirror, were then severed by the reel-booted D-sword less than an instant. So now she transferred to our school. According to the minimum attendance chart, didn't have to go to school today. Despite that, I was heading there anyway for one reason, and one reason only. See Rimi. Yeah, no, they asked Chaos in an audiobook. That's why I keep mumbling and stuttering so much. You can't actually use this for audio book material. Wait a minute, you can just take AI to make it do whatever. Alright. Guess checkmate. I had no doubt that Dokyuns in class would make fun of me, just like they always did. I definitely suck, but the minute I could see Rimi, I could endure it. Passed through the school gate, I thought back to yesterday. When we parted, Sen had made it a point to say something. Also good to see you, Andy.
お前が望むと望まないとに関わらず、もしこれ以上踏み込んでくるようなら、負を正にするぐらいの強い意識を持つんだな。中途半端な気持ちじゃ、妄想に食われるだけだぞ。
Half-assed, we hear that in wrestling all the time. Didn't want to get involved in anything that would sound dangerous, so opted not to ask anything else. Besides, I still didn't know how far I'd have to go to get my hands on a D-sword. I was no hero. This useless piece of shit couldn't protect his own sister. But it's possible that Shogun could show up again. He'd be playing with me like it was some kind of game after all. He'd been sending me like another quest soon. Thought of alone terrified me. I tried to grasp my D-sword, but even that was just to protect myself from him. But that sword, I never hoped to escape his evil clutches. If Rimi was by my side, like she said she would, but been absent from school lately. Worried me. She'd been taken hostage just like Nanami. Is there anyone out there who could help me? Be someone with a D-sword. Asa could help because she was injured. Then I definitely wouldn't. Kozubi was a bit... No, she was fairly weird. My head was looking squarely at the floor. Oh, my head looking squarely at the floor, I entered the classroom. Taking my seat, took a quick look around. I looked towards Rimi's seat first. Empty. Was taking today off too? Was it really that simple? Was just taking time off? Began to feel anxious. I wanted to see her. I wanted to see that cheerful face. Next I looked over Kozupi's desk. She was in her seat, face down and hauled it up. Minded what Senna told me yesterday. Now since my Kozupi was always like that.
たくみさ
She can talk telepathically, though. Morning, Kozupi. Make eye contact when I greet her with my inner voice. Female Dokuns were watching me smirking. Cunts. No different from yesterday. Alba labeled me as that otaku freak that said he was psychic, made an ass of himself on TV. It wasn't going away anytime soon. The male Dokuns didn't have arrived yet. It's pretty common for them to skip first period. That was fine by me. Took my seat. When I did, that voice called my name.
たく、おはよ
Rimi! Doctor looked up in a panic. There, right in front of my spare eyes, Rimi. Hint of shyness, she gave me a short wave.
う。久しぶり。
Rimi.
Rimi.
Again. Our sound just right. Rimi.
Rimi.
This is too hard. It sounds like saying Dimi.
Rimi.
I'll never get that sound right. It's definite presence. It was breathing. It was rustling. Blinking. Right there. Right here. The twinge in the back of my nose. The wetness squeezed within my chest. Like I was gonna cry. Suddenly sat down. I just froze with my head hanging down. So happy. I got to see her again.
ちょっとたく、どうしたの？もしかして泣いてるの？
What's up, Mr. Rip? I shook my head. My Dokyun classmates found I was crying. Should make fun of me all over again. I almost thought that I couldn't cry, but the tears kept flowing.
わかった。私に再会できて嬉しいんだ。そうでしょ。なんてね。ちょっと自意識過剰だったかな。
Now she joked around so cheerfully, all I could do was continue shaking my head. Didn't even look at her. If I did, I really started bawling. Might rain later, nice. Suddenly someone clapped me on the back.
Oh, Taku.
Oh, Taku. It was Masumi-kun. Uncomfortable look on his face. His sound was a lot weaker than usual. She had no issue ignoring me before. Why start paying attention to me all of a sudden? So you'll regret talking to me. You'll become the Dokyun's next target, just like me. Yeah, Rimi, Masumi-kun, even you. You're both better off not associated with an otaku freak like me. What's up, Oli? Good to see you, dude. Hope the streaming's been going well. I remained silent, but Masumi-kun forced a smile.
暗いな。朝から新規臭いぜ。ま、お前はそういうやつだって分かってるけどな。
Tarsha's words were I didn't get the feeling he was joking or acting sarcastic. I don't know yet. There's like 4 or 5 girls in Chaos Head. After all, it's pretty common for him to say stuff like that.
そういう大臣は
They're all kind of weird, too.
何爽やかだね。
無駄にとか言うな。久々に学校来たと思ったらいきなりそれか？
Yeah, I guess the singer girl is kind of cute, but then she tried to kill herself. That kind of makes it kind of weird.
じゃあ、嘘くさい爽やかさ。
なたく、この言い草どう思うよ。
Nodded ambiguously, the tears somehow managed to stop. Usual routine was happening right in front of me. Both of them were completely oblivious to the fact that my standing in class had taken a steep nosedive.
そういえば、岸本のことを聞いたか。
Uh-oh.
まだ入院中らしいぜ。怪我は大したことなかったんだけど、精神的にかなり参ってるらしい。いいか、タク。女を落とすのに一番手っ取り早いのは
Did I just skip a line?
弱ってる時に優しくしてやることだ。
Okay. Act like you care in a moment of weakness.
というわけで俺、本気で岸本の見舞いに行こうかなと思ってんだよね。
大臣最低。ブーブー。今度こそ彼女さんに刺されるよ。
お見舞いに行くだけだろ。別にやましいことじゃねえよ。
ほんの数秒前と言ってることが違うし。
そういえばタクって岸本と知り合いだったよな。な、一緒に行ってくんね。
Etto is in Japanese. It was typical subject matter for Misumi-kun. I thought for sure he was going to ask me about my psychic powers, but when he didn't, I'd be completely off guard. Instead of noticing Misumi-kun, we went right back to what he was saying. Then we found our usual routine. Misumi-kun talking and talking, Remy occasionally butting in with a sharp jab, me just giving vague responses. Like it was no different from usual, made me happy. Top floor of Nozomi Group headquarters, the presidential office, Norose Genichi stood near a window, lighting a cigarette ablaze. Nozomi Group, enormous corporate group with an abundance of subsidiaries, one that conducted businesses while being accompanied by license approval by the nation from the nation itself. A number of those subsidiaries had found success in a variety of business fields, from sales of clothing or groceries to managing sales and importing as a trading company. Norose, reigning above all as apex of the group, looked below at the grand view of his castle. What's that other building? Like the Transamerica Pyramid in San Francisco. Oh, no. That's the sky. This is Tokyo Sky Tower. Okay, I see this. Tokyo. His conscious mind, however, was not gazing upon the scenery before him. Repeatedly tapping his foot against the floor in agitation, his lips curled in a sneer.
まったく。老人たちの相手は面倒ですよ。そう思いませんか？
What's up, Will?
彼らは臆病すぎる。だからこそここまでのし上がってきたとも言えるのでしょうが。利用するにもこうあれこれと横槍を入れられてはいい加減うんざりしてきますよ。現実は悲しいかな。300人委員会の影響力というものを侮ることはできません。ただいずれ近いうちにそのシステムも崩壊する。
There's no wrestling today on this stream. I'll be doing wrestling again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific. 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have more startup and everything. There's actually a lot of stuff to get to. We're like way behind.
楽しみですか？私もですよ。ここまで随分時間がかかってしまいました。プロジェクトノア。立ち上げからすでに5年余り。
Oh, so this is called. Norose approached his personal desk. A solid desk of natural oak contained few ornaments of any note, adorned only with items one might find in a typical office setting. The table's edge, however, a single conspicuous object casually lay. Norose grasped the green, strangely designed character in his hand, giving it a single disinterested glance, promptly discarded it in the waste bin.
さて。
Narrowed eyes turned to the dim roof's interior. The rear of the room where the moonlight could not reach housed the slightest hint of another person. Oh.
まさか君がギガロマニアックスだとは思いもよりませんでした。
What?
どうやら
Who else is there?
神すらも私の味方をしてくれているようだ。
God?
君のサンプルを取らせてもらいますよ。何？怯える必要はありません。私は元医師でしてね。インフォームのコンセントはきちんとしなければ気が済まないたちなのです。そもそもノア2のハードウェアはすでに完成しています。あと必要なのはソフトウェアの方でしてね。そのために君たちギガロマニアックスのサンプルが多く必要なのです。正確に言うならば NA シナプスに関するコードサンプル、脳の働きに指令を出す役割を果たしている部位の行動サンプルですよ。
Noradrenergic synapses? Why don't they have the glossary for that? That's what the hell is that?
コードサンプルには個人差があります。持っている能力が高いギガロマニアックスは
Synapse? That word I knew!
もよ
What
り
was a
活性化
noradrenic?
し脳のより広い範囲にわたって効果を及ぼします。
Saving that. Oh, really? Cells, neurons, to produce release oh, Jesus. Norepinephrine? What is this?
人間の脳は全体の10分の1しか使われていません。しかしギガロマニアックスは違う。
Gigalomaniacs.
残りの10分の9の部位も使っていることが分かっています。
They use 100%.
ギガロマニアックスの頭の中というのは実に興味深い。そのサンプルがノア2にとっていわば CPU の役割を果たすわけです。
What?
サンプルが多ければ多いほどノア2の能力は本物のギガロマニアックスに近づき、やがて超えるでしょう。
It's like AI. He's learning from these Gigalomaniacs.
納得してもらえましたか？結構。
But he didn't say it was. Notice he nodded in satisfaction, exhaling a cloud of smoke as he returned his view to the scenery beyond the window. Upon viewing it up close, the Shibuyan nightscape was the essence of vulgarity itself, leaving Norose solely with feelings of discomfort. His insistent belief of this remote location, however, was more than adequate. Nevertheless, it would not be long before this nightscape would be a sight never to be seen again. The final experiment of his Project Noah would make sure of that.
世界が生まれ変わる日も近い。
I'm mad with power. What was this? He had that too? Or was that person there? Wait, what? Oh, not the Kuropi? Wait. Not the Kuropi at the Nozomi headquarters? What? It was lunch break. I usually skipped lunch. I had no one to eat with, and I didn't want to eat alone in the classroom. Recently, Rimi started asking me to eat with her, but since I was me, I'd always get embarrassed and refuse in the end. Then my usual routine would be leave the classroom and take refuge in a place I felt comfortable. Sometimes it was the library, sometimes it was in the courtyard. Now that everyone was in the school in my face, there was no place I could go where I could relax. Yeah, why was the frog there at the Nozomi headquarters? Merciless gazes that pierced through me. Fierce and ridicule that was hurled at me. Today too, I walked around the school being exposed to all of it. And there was someone else there he was talking to. Eventually I knew I had no choice but to duck into a private bathroom. Right when I was about to, I saw Nanami walking down the corridor leading to the first year building. Like she was walking alone towards the classrooms. Speaking of Nanami, I had spoken to her since the incident. I've been avoiding her for the entire week. Doing it because I didn't know how to act once I saw her. I put my own life before hers. I was the worst big brother ever. Really a miracle that Nanami had been released safe and sound. I had nothing to do with it. Maybe Shogun told her that it was my fault and she'd gotten kidnapped. If he had, she would definitely be angry with me. Maybe she hated me. Maybe she didn't want to speak to me ever again. That's why I didn't have the courage to go talk to her. Now that I'd seen her, I started to worry about her once again. Even after everything. What if I truly wronged her? What if she'd been injured? What if she'd been hurt mentally? For a moment, the memory of the hand resurfaced in my head. I shook my head violently to ward it off. The severed hand, along with the bangle I'd been wearing, along with the cell phone I'd been holding, all been a delusion, a real delusion. Because the hand disappeared from the refrigerator. Rather than thinking it had somehow sprouted legs and walked away, it was far more reasonable that it had never been there in the first place. The fact that Nami was alive and well was proof of that. Before I knew it, I'd broken into a run. I was chased after Nami. The figure got bigger and bigger as I approached her. She didn't notice me yet. As she walked, she played with her hair with the fingertips of her right hand. I ran and started to call out to her. On her right hand, the hand was playing with her hair, the sleeve of her uniform ever so slightly slipped down. Suddenly I said with a strange feeling, I choked back the sound I was about to make. I sounded, no! They reattached her hand! What the hell's going on? What is going on with this game? I don't like it anymore, it's too weird. I stopped dead in my tracks, I had seen it. An extremely trivial, consequential feeling, yet... White. It was white. Trying to conceal something. White bandage was wrapped around. The right, you can't reattach a hand. This is ridiculous. At the end of the chapter, chapter 8. What? Dude, what is happening in this game? There's too many things and you can't tell what's real or not, and this is ridiculous. Everything's interconnected. Initiated by Momose, a meeting was slated to be held at the Frisia Credit Bureau, a meeting to which Ban was now running half an hour late. hand healing magic?
ちょっとバンちゃん遅いじゃないの。
Momose's angry voice hurtled into him as he entered the office. In response to this, Ban gave a minor shrug, then proceeded to walk up to the desk of Frisia's president, an amiable smile on his face. He now brought any refreshments today, something he was beginning to believe had been lapse in judgment.
あら、つばちゃんは？
今日は別行動。
若い子をこき使ってバンちゃんは楽してるわけね。
いやいや、俺もちゃんとやってるよ。昨日だって徹夜でいろいろ調べてたんだぜ。おかげで最近の女子高生の生態についてはかなり詳しくなった。
What?
あんたね、呆れて物も言えないわ。
で、こうして俺を呼びつけたってことは、あの子と連絡取れたってこと？
今来てるわ。
さすがももちゃん。ちなみに可愛い子かい？
What? Mose probably smacked Ban over the head, stopping his opportunistic grin in his tracks. The sheer speed with which he turned his wrist made the slap especially fierce.
いつまでもバカなこと言ってんじゃないわよ、エロ親父。
冗談だって。
We're arriving. What did she call him?
いつまでもバカなこと言ってんじゃないわよ、エロ親父。
Oh, you're actually okay. I thought she was Gigi. I was like, okay. Upon arriving at the building, Ban made a private request to Momose. They'll set up a meeting between him and a certain person connected to the New Gen cases. Not that anything work-related, merely to satiate a personal curiosity. Not planning on talking about anything related to the New Gen investigations for the time being. Due to his position, Ban could not simply meet with a person of his own, else he would risk drawing the ire of the detectives he was getting ahead of. Mose urged Ban over to the corner of the office, a fairly cramped space, almost all of which was taken up by shelves packed full of files. The location was used as a reception area of sorts, and a pair of love seats had been wedged into the only place it could fit. Ban entered the section of Mose, and his eyes landed on a lone girl sitting in one of the love seats. The girl was wearing a Suime Academy uniform, her head and shoulders were curved towards the ground. She looked incredibly haggard.
ごめんね、お待たせしちゃって。
Her looked up in startlement upon hearing Momose. In the process, her glasses had slipped down her nose a bit, and to swiftly readjust them with her finger.
あ、いえ、平気です。
She saw Ban, her expression turned slightly fearful, before bowing her head and greeting a moment later. Ban felt somewhat hurt by this. He made every attempt to look as non-threatening as possible in both his bearing and appearance. The girl's reaction made him realize that despite his best efforts, the ferocity and intimidation particular detectives were seeping out all the same. Guess I've got a lot more practicing to do, he thought with bitter amusement as he sat across from Yua.
楠木優愛さんだね。
はい。
亡くなった美和さんの双子の姉。それで間違いないかな。
They adjusted her posture, then returned a nod. First new gen incident, the group dive. Among the 5 high schoolers that leaped to death was a girl named Kusunoki Miya.
まあ、そんな緊張しなさんな。君を取り調べようなんて思っちゃねえんだ。雑談程度に思ってよ。本題に入る前にちょっと聞いていいかい？ゆあちゃんは妹さんが亡くなったことについてどう思う？
ちょっとバンちゃん。
あ、悪いね。職業病ってやつか。気を使うような言い方できなくってな。ただ気になってたんだ。捜査本部でも話題になってたんだが、楠木美也さんの遺族は奇妙だって。
Alright, look, did she kill herself or was she murdered? Tell me.
バンちゃん。
Damn it.
いえ、いいんです。
Before Momose could rise to her feet over Ban's insensitive comment, Yua stopped her.
私もおかしいって思いますから。
はあ。
集団ライブで飛び降りた5人には自殺する理由なんてなかった。家族や友人はみんなそう主張している。だがミアさんの家族だけは違った。
Ban took his fan out from his belt and began cooling himself.
何も主張しなかった。あっさり受け入れたって聞いてる。 あまりに何も言わなさすぎて奇妙だったってな。なんでだい？
お父さんもお母さんもミヤちゃんが死んでからおかしくなっちゃったんです。
Going crazy. Anger shoot from Yua's
最
voice.
初はミヤちゃんの事件の知らせを受けた日はそれでも泣いていたんです。お父さんもお母さんもとても辛そうでした。でも次の日の朝、なぜか二人は楽しそうに笑っていたんです。ミヤちゃんが死ぬ前と全く同じに戻ってたんです。たった一日で。私、わけがわからなくて、二人はミヤちゃんのこと忘れようとしてるんじゃないかって思って。そうしたら、お父さんが、笑いながら、お前に妹なんていないよって。ミヤちゃんが残した洋服とか靴とかを見せても、全然取り合ってくれないんです。それはお前のために予備で買ってあったものだって。
What?
そうやってお父さんたちは、ニュースからも、警察の話からも目を背けて、
Nice pink spike. 210 down.
記憶からミヤちゃんのことを消し去ろうとしてるんです。
つまり双子じゃなかったことに。
それで警察にもうちは一人っ子だって言って追い返してたわけか。
私とミヤちゃんは一卵性で、見た目は瓜二つなんですけど、あの子は、妹は、親から嫌われていました。
I didn't like her.
あの子はいつも自分の気持ちを押し殺して、私のことを一番に考えてくれていたんです。
As Yua spoke, memories from when Mia had still been alive resurfaced in her mind. First came a memory from when the two had still been in elementary school. One day, some relatives had brought the girls a single large teddy bear as a present. In contrast to the raw joy Yua displayed, Mia insisted that she did not like stuffed animals, and she did not even so much as look at the plushes away. Both her relatives and parents were upset from Mia for not acting as a child should. But despite Mia's protesting, Yua whispered to her that the two of them could share it. It could be something they could both treasure. However, in response to her sister's kindness, Mia simply said she didn't want it, and Yua could have it. A month later, when Yua grew tired of the teddy bear, she woke up the night, happened to witness a certain scene. There was a joyful look on her face. He was hugging and talking to the bear plushie. It was the first time Yua had ever seen her sister so happy. From this, she realized her sister's insistence about disliking stuffed animals had been a lie. He had been keeping her own feelings hidden, all for the sake of her older sister. Next day, Yua found a lovely drawing of a bear beneath Mia's pillow. Until her sister had grown tired of the teddy bear, Mia had been hugging and sleeping with the drawing in lieu of it. Things very similar to this happened again and again over the 18 years they spent together. For the birthday celebrations, Yua always blew out the candles in the cake. But when Mia was prompted to do it, she would say, "I refuse to do something so ridiculous," angering her parent. We advanced to private high school and Suime Academy, and Mia went wild and misbehaving at school, deliberately scoring low on exams, never moved on to a public high school. Due to exorbitant fees, their parents would only have to be able to afford one of them to a private school. But how hard Yua tried to let her sister have something, Mia would always gain the upper hand and force Yua to be prioritized. To achieve this end, she even intentionally took a dislikable attitude.
私は結局、ミヤちゃんの優しさに甘えて、今まで自分だけいい思いをしてきました。ミヤちゃんがいなくなって初めて、もっとあの子のために何かできることがあったはずだって、すごく後悔して、私が代わりに死んであげればよかった。しかも挙句に、親に存在そのものを忘れられてしまうなんて、こんなの、あんまりです。あんまりにも、悲しいです。
Yua, having now reached her limit, could no longer squeeze out any more words. She took off her glasses, pressed her fingers against corners of her eyes, and broke down in tears. Momose sat down beside her and gently rubbed her back.
それでユアちゃんは一人で事件のことを調べていたらしいの。ミヤちゃんに一体何があったのか知るためにね。
そりゃ大変だったろう。
そして一人の人物を突き止めた。
Momose had Yua's shoulder. She turned her eyes towards Bond.
西条匠くんよ。
Kill him! He did it!
なるほどね。
Stroking the subtle on his chin, Bond leaned forward from the sofa.
いつだったか西条と追跡劇をしてたっていう女子高生の話を所轄のデカから聞いたんだが、もしかしてユアちゃんだったりする？
Yua nodded apologetically.
ああ、興味あるな。詳しく聞かせてもおうと思ったけど、ちょっとごめんよ。
With a strained smile, finally bowed his head to Yua and Momose. He was interrupted by the cell phone in his suit pocket. Swiftly took out the phone and checked the screen. Sua's name was displayed across it.
もしもし、どうした？
Mosh mosh.
先輩、7番目っす。
No! Another death!
なんだと？
Sua's voice sounded strained. Not investigators frantically scurrying about could be heard through the phone. Sua must have been at the investigation headquarters.
ニュージェネ第7の事件が起きたんすよ。
Oh shit. We didn't really get the sixth. Ron's eyes opened wide and his expression turned bitter as his teeth sank into his lip. Sensing the seriousness of the situation from his behavior, Mose and Yua watched the detective with unease.
外車は3人、友人同士らしいっす。3人とも胴体から体が切断されてて、それぞれの上半身と下半身を別々に入れ替えて手ぐす、釣りとっすね。それで縫い付けられてたっす。
It's cool. Made some weird mismatched zombies.
それと額にそれぞれ Q、D、N って読める傷が。
An N? Oh, it's Dokyun. Nice.
何か
Uh-oh.
のメッ
It's
セ
gonna,
ージか？
it's gonna implement Takumi.
さあ、そこまでは。それと気になることが。
It's definitely Q, D, and N, not DQN. Let's just leave it at that.
司法解剖の結果は分かったんですけど、外車の胴体の切断部はノコギリとか包丁とかそういう刃物で切断されたものじゃないって。
What?
どういう意味だ？
なんか強い力で引きちぎられたそうっす。
By strong force.
引きちぎられた。
Could be a D sword? Ron repeated Sua's words back to him with a low groan, then roughly scratched his head with the handle of his fan.
まるで怪獣だな。
It's kaiju.
あるいは最近流行りの魔法使いとかな。
先輩、それマジで言ってんすか？映画オタクの自分でもさすがにその意見には同意しかねるっす。
単なる例えだ、バカな。
It's not a wizard.
いいから、さっさと捜査に戻れ。
After barking that order, Sua, Bon ended the call. Now that it was November, I had a feeling the sun was already setting much earlier than before. By the time Remy and I started home together after school, a faint orange was already staining the
ご
sky.
めんね。
Despite being silent up until now, Remy abruptly
た
apologized.
く、いろいろ大変だったんでしょ。
It's the first time I'd gone home with Remy in a while. I was genuinely happy that she'd come back. She'd been the one to initiate it, saying, "Let's walk home together." We'd only gone home together for no more than twice. I'd secretly been worried that it would never happen again. However, that turned out not to be the
一
case.
緒にいてあげられなくてごめん。知り合いが例の地震で怪我しちゃって、ずっと面倒見てたから。
Even though I hadn't asked, Remy was kind enough to explain herself to me. To be frank, almost all of Remy's words were going in one ear and out the other. Bandage. A bandage seen on Nami's wrist at lunch break. Been burned in my eyes and refused to go away.
もしかして怒ってる？
In the end, I'd failed to say anything to Nami. I'd been too scared. Even though Nami was my little sister, even though I was Nami's older brother, it just felt unbelievably strange. I had no idea what it was. Nurses said that Nami had no injuries, and that Shogun delivered to my base had disappeared from the fridge without a trace. All had to be a delusion. If that was true, why had Nami's right wrist been wrapped in a bandage? It was possible I was just overthinking it. She'd just gotten burned or stung by something, or some other stupid minor injury that didn't matter at all. That was probably it. That was the most logical answer. But even now, I was still too scared to check. After failing to save her, I was still just pacing around doing nothing, not even trying to talk to her, my very own sister. I was really the worst brother
ね
ever.
え、タク。おーい。もしもーし。怒ってるならそう言ってよ。無視されるのって結構傷ついちゃうな。
え？
I looked over at Remy, who was seemingly weirdly distorted.
あ、え、
もしかして、 私の話聞いてなかった？
I hesitated for a second, I nodded. At that moment, Remy jabbed my cheek with her forefinger.
石、てっきり無視されたかと思ったよ。紛らわしいことしない。
Ow, you just jabbed your nail into my cheek.
あ、大丈夫？
Remy finally stopped poking me. Now came the words I heard often from her. Words of worry and concern. Word that I heard from Remy again and
お
again.
昼ぐらいから顔色良くないよ。元気もないみたいだし。もしかして誰かにひどいこと言われた？だったら私に教えて。怒ってきてあげるから。
She's acting like an older sister or a guardian, even. Remy was just a hopeless meddler. That had been obvious from the moment she'd given in to talk freely me the time of day. Grateful to her for being so worried about me. Or now I'd bottled up my worries. I'd either bottled up my worries deep inside or posted them anonymously on @channel. Did I tell her about what happened with Nanami? When I told her about the D sword that one time, she hadn't believed me at all. And again, that would be the natural response from anyone sane. If I were to tell her about Nanami, she'd probably either be A, speechless, or B, laugh in my face. If that was true, there'd be no point in telling her. I needed for her to stay by my side. It'd be better to bring up the topic with Kozupi or Senna instead.
相変わらず汚いね。
In her moments after stepping foot into my base, Remy muttered that in exasperation. Yet, paradoxically, seemed to be smiling happily as well. Weird.
変わってないな。この部屋の汚さがまさにタクって感じ。
Gonna be like that, then just clean it, be my guest. Without a sigh, I turned on my PC.
ちょっと。帰ってくるなりパソコン？友達が来てるんだから、少しはおもてなししてあげようっていう気持ちにはならないのかな。ねえ、お話ししようよ。
What? Oh, damn it. Maybe there's a reasonable demand. Remy sit down on the sofa. Trying to have a one-on-one conversation with a 3D girl would be over within seconds. Of course, I've forgotten used to talking with Remy, since I'd gotten a lot more chances to do so recently. Still even doubted I'd last 5 minutes. Moreover, my head was already fully occupied with stuff about Nanami, so I didn't very much feel up for a casual conversation. And so I resorted to just ignoring her. I sat down on my chair, all while remaining painfully aware of my own worthlessness. Oh no. Not fully tripping. I sensed Remy moving behind me, the rustling of her clothes growing closer.
だから、無視しないでよ。
There's the doll there. When I had a chance to turn around, I was embraced from behind. Until Flora scented me. Back was struck by the soft sensation of Remy's breasts.
寂しいよ。そういうことされると。
Been running away from reality again, gave myself a delusion that was a lot easier to swallow than the real world. Upon thinking that the sheer emptiness I felt overpowered any less, I might add, I was no longer able to enjoy the delusion anymore. Rather than taking her and pinning her down on the bed, I decided to throw out all the things I could only voice in my head in delusions such as this.
僕だって寂しかった。辛かったんだ。リミがこの1週間全然連絡くれなくて。
I could feel the movements of Remy's body directly against my back. Her chest faintly rose and fell with every breath. As obvious as the fact may have been, it reminded me that Remy truly was alive.
ごめん。一緒にいてあげられなくてごめん。
Remy tightened her embrace around me.
私の中でもまだ迷いがあって、どうしたらいいかわからなくて、ちょっと考えてみようと思って。
Doubts like what? Because you've been talking about.
そもそも私、タクと一緒にいていいのかなとか、このままの関係を続けるべきなのかなとか。でもね、このままじゃきっとダメなんだ。それじゃあ何も救えない。ねえタク、私が最初に願ったのはさ、一つだけだった。なのにどうして私は際限なく望み続けちゃうんだろうね。あの空を見つけた時に私は
no idea what Remy was talking about. Nor did I know how to respond to it. Silence enveloped us. Kid Remy's gentle breaths close to my ear. No matter how long I waited for her to end it with some silly punchline, it never came in the wafting silence. It's possible that this wasn't a delusion? The moment I considered that, a wave of anxiety ran through me. In reality, Remy was hugging me. She was pressed tightly against me. That realization alone nearly destroyed any sense of reason I had. I had a feeling that, in a situation like this, if I pinned Remy to the bed, she'd let me have my way with her. A gulp, I...
メールだよボケナス
No!
今の何
Remy let go of me in surprise. The tender sensation vanished along with her. A complicated mix of both relief and disappointment spread through my chest. Wait a second. Remy just heard my Seroton notification tone. Oh god, how embarrassing. I opened my email software. I saw about 3 messages from Grimm telling me to join the chat room. And I thought about it. I haven't really chatted with Grimm recently. We talk online pretty much every day. Since I've been refraining from playing ESO, it's been around 10 days since we last talked. Yo. Hey, Nighthawk, I've been waiting for you. Another nude gen. What are you talking about? New gen, dude. We're going from new gen to nude gen. Not that serious. This is the 7th case.
どうしたの
I've noticed my gasp. Remy so walked over to me. Peeked over my shoulder at the monitor.
第7の事件
Happened again. Another new gen. How long was this damn thing gonna go on for? Was I next? Would I be the victim of the 8th case, the 9th?
タク気にすることないよ何も怖いことなんてないタクは狙われたりなんかしない全部タクの被害妄想ね
That's completely baseless encouragement. You can't calm me down with such weak, sauce shit, Remy. Anxiety aside, Grimm pretty much the new gen news guys at this point. They keep me in the loop about basically everything. Even now, he's going out of his way to link a bunch of blog posts and news articles about it. It seemed like he really wanted me to take a look. Bite on my lip, I reluctantly clicked the first link. The Dokuun puzzle. No, they already put the letters in the right order. They know it's me. 19-year-old, 20-year-old, and 19-year-old. Construction workers. What? Unemployed, college student, and a construction worker. Dokuun met the Dokuun puzzle. An individual lacking basic common sense. $1,000 calls about Esper Boy flooded overnight. That's me. New gen for the win. Little zero connection. Please dumb as fuck. Is one of his anti-Dokuns. We're controlling treatment of our body for some alphas. Esper Boy will figure it out. New gen news bearer. A lot of ASCII art. That's 8.
今日午前4時50分ごろ、東京都渋谷区の線路沿いで男性3人の他殺死体が鉄柱に吊り下げられているのを通りかかった新聞販売員の男性が発見しました。警察の調べによりますと、殺されたのはいずれも渋谷区に住む無職藤田康平さん、大学生の安沢三郎さん、とび職の高木亮さんの3人です。3人とも胴体の部分が切断され、それぞれの上半身と下半身が別々に入れ替えられて糸で縫合されていました。3人の額にはそれぞれ謎の傷がつけられており、警察では犯人からのメッセージではないかとみて調べています。渋谷では2ヶ月ほど前から猟奇殺人事件が頻発しており、警察では今回の事件も同一犯による犯行の可能性が高いとみて捜査を続けています。
About the new gen. What am I doing? Tripping out? In the news clip, photographs of 3 victims were shown. I had seen those faces before.
あいつらだ。
知ってるの
昨日僕に絡んできた。
Oh. Random guys that beat him up. I gave them my wallet, but they kicked my ass anyway. Then fall unconscious, and when I woke up, Cosby was beside me. Three of them had collapsed on the ground, covered in blood. I took my wallet out of my pocket and stared at it intently. When I came to, Cosby had been carrying it. She gave it back to me soon after. Can the person who killed them, those three, be... Kozopi! No, definitely not. Last time I had seen them, they'd been beaten to a pulp and covered in blood, but they hadn't been cut in half or anything. Maybe they'd been killed after Kozopi and I had left. It could be Shogun, that wrinkly ass tried to provoke me. Damn, he was really committed to drive me insane. How far was he willing to go? I wanted to vomit, clutch my stomach as it churned in pain. Was I next? Was the next to die?
終了。
Hand reached out from behind me and pushed the power button on the monitor. The screen went pitch black.
落ち着いて。気にすることないよ。ただの偶然だって、きっと。
Why was Ruby acting so ridiculously optimistic? This couldn't possibly be a series of coincidences?
それよ
Coincidences?
り、お腹空いちゃった。ねえ、私が行きつけのお店があるんだけど、そこにご飯食べに行かない？安くて美味しいんだよ。私が保証する。まあ、お客さんはおじさんが多いから、私みたいのが一人で行くのはちょっと恥ずかしいけどね。あ、それと、駅の中に入らなくちゃいけないんだった。渋谷駅の構内にあるから。
Super Friends is on.
ちなみに、山手線内回りと外回りのホーム、どっちにもあるんだけど、私は断然内回りの方が好き。
Food, huh? Really didn't have much appetite right now. Look, there's three bodies sawed in half, sewed together. Wanna go eat? I like Shogun was holding the knife straight to my throat. Like he was saying, I can kill you whenever I please. Please just let me go. But I didn't deserve this. Can't take any more. Your sword's there. Kishimoto Ayase was lying in a hospital bed, idly gazing out the window. No bars lined the way outside. Doctor said apart from those at Arkhart Medical where Ayase had stayed in the past, all that stood past the window's frame was the landscape of Shinjuku, decorated by skyscrapers illuminated by the sunset. Flocks of pigeons soared freely through the sky, flapping the wings to their heart's content. Every now and then, she would gaze upon the sight with a pained expression. Her slightly tired eyes were empty and bleak. Irises reflected nothing. Her lips, which could let a flow of voice so beautiful, shook the youth of Shibuya, were now sealed tight. Not even so much as a hum escaped from them. Following her suicide attempt, an event which caused quite the turmoil, she had been admitted to the psychiatric ward in a large hospital in Yoyogi. Her injuries were already very nearly healed. According to the doctors, it had been nothing short of a miracle that she'd been able to survive a fall from that height, let alone with barely even a scratch. However, she needed her head fairly hard, and as such, she'd been rushed to the hospital, primarily so she could see how the situation would develop. It had already been over a week since then. However, despite having been admitted for such a reason, all it seemed to entail was a few rudimentary tests taken every couple of days or so. Beyond that, she'd been rather neglected. Her hospital room was private with no other beds inside it. Ever since her stay had begun, her D-sword had been leaning against the window, and it constantly emitted a blue light, yet nobody ever visited her seemed to notice. Not there had been many visitors to begin with. Phantasm fans would attempt to force their way into her room daily. Since they always caused a disturbance in the process, the hospital had an excuse to forbid them from visiting her. And since Ayase was somewhat detached from her family, there was almost no others who came to visit her. Fellow band members had made an appearance once, but Ayase had used that opportunity to announce her decision for the band to break up, and not contacted her again since.
岸本さん、体温計ピピってなりました？
Nurse wearing white scrubs opened the door to the room, then swiftly entered. Ayase slowly turned to look at the nurse's face, then took out the thermometer that had been resting under her arm. She just remembered its presence. The nurse took a look at the recorded temperature shown on its digital screen, to make note of it on the clipboard she brought with her.
37度1分と、ちょっと熱っぽいかしら。ズキズキする。頭。
Ayase grimaced in pain once again.
あら、また頭痛？でもそれは薬の副作用よ。気にしなくてもそのうち良くなりますよ。
According to her temperature, the nurse consoled Ayase with a kind smile. The expression was so gentle, clear to all how she was able to put her patients at ease. Yet, despite the nurse's attempt, Ayase simply pushed her hand against her forehead as it shook back and forth. Ayase had been plagued by mild headaches ever since she'd been first hospitalized. They were not especially painful. They still left her with an uncomfortable feeling that refused to go away. It feels as if her brain itself was convulsing. It even reached a point where her ability to think was impaired. As well as this, her body feels heavy as lead. Ayase experienced such symptoms in the past, namely, she'd been institutionalized at Arkhart Medical. Back then, her head was constantly being split apart by painful headaches, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Deprived her of all sleep and emotional stability. Those were the memories she did not want to resurface. Now she had sealed away. Events were around 2 years ago. Yet her headache was causing them to flash back into her mind once more. Ah! Now I'm in a dark room and single weapon locked in a dark room and a single winged window locked behind bars. Apart from the wall in which the window stood, the rest of the walls were covered with mirrors. Ayase had been placed in the center of the room, sat in a crude steel chair. She was wearing headgear with countless cables protruding from it. Her hands were tied to back behind the chair. Head was locked in place, and her chin was slightly tilted upwards. Another soul was present in the room. Thus, all that could be heard were the sounds of Ayase's labored breathing and the metal groans of the chair she sat upon. Trying to test gigglomaniacs. Calm down. Saliva trickling down from the corners of her mouth, accompanied by moans akin to those of a beast. If anyone were able to hear them, they'd never been able to guess they were coming from a girl as young as her. Being tortured, slow methodical torture, one that made very, very little sound. The method only involved one single thing, not even an action. A drop of water falling from above onto her forehead every 5 seconds on the exact same spot. That was all it took. Continue unrelentingly for 2 full days. The result? Ayase could think only of the drop that would fall next. Senses were sharpened to their limits. Each time a drop fell on her forehead, another hallucination would be born. One in which every nerve across her body was plucked out one by one. One in which the bones of her entire skeleton crumbled to dust. One in which her head was pierced by a long, sharp awl. One in which all liquids within her body, including her blood, froze to ice. One in which the skin lined her entire body slowly rotted away before eventually peeling off. Still at end by these sensations, Ayase could no longer maintain her sanity. Returning to her senses, she breathed erratically as she tightly gripped the sheets lining the bed. Her body trembled as those dark memories of hers resurfaced in her mind. The nurse that had been in her room just a moment ago was already gone. Dinner time just arrived at the hospital, and the clamorous sound that came from it resounded from down the hall. Ayase tried to recall the words that the nurse had spoken to her right before leaving. Was her headache really just a side effect of the drug she was on? Or had it been caused by hitting her head, perhaps? Perhaps it was just a hallucination brought forth by her past memories. She was able to come to a decisive conclusion. Wiping away the sweat that had run down her forehead, Ayase called forth a smile laced with self-loathing.
構わないわ。今さら何をされたって。あれはあの神罰を耐え抜いたんだから。もう迷わない。私は。
Murmuring of perhaps delirium, Ayase soon became aware of a sound reverberating throughout the hall. Comforting sound of shoes stepping on the linoleum floor. Certainly not being made by a nurse. The sounds of footsteps was heading right for the room she was in. Someone knocked on her door and she sealed her lips tight. That someone was but a single man. Come bringing gifts, namely a large basket full of the mild manner of fruits. She recognized the man, which was far from a good sign. Thus she stared at him with a dubious glare.
どうも。あ、別に怪しいもんじゃないっすよ。自分は。
知ってるわ。
The man was a detective at the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. He had once shouted at Ayase. She was originally a suspect for the Nugen case. The detective, relieved by a response, scratched his head. His demeanor was unendingly casual.
いやー、嬉しいっす。君みたいな美人に覚えててもらえて。記憶力いいんすね。
Detective moved closer to her bed. Ayase briefly glanced at her D-sword leaning against the window. Lay just outside her reach.
今日はお見舞いに来たんすよ。
そうは思えないわ。目的は？
鋭いっすね。
Detective flinched very overtly. The action perhaps bordered on theatrical.
まあちょっと綾瀬ちゃんに聞きたいことがあって。あ、これよかったら食べてほしいっす。
Detective smiled innocently, presented the basket he had brought with him, and placed it at Ayase's feet without waiting for approval.
うまいっすよ。あと高かったと。
いらない。
まあそう言わずせっかく買ってきたんで、後でお母さんが来た時にでも切ってもらって。あ、しまった。綾瀬ちゃんはもう何年も両親に会ってないんだったっすね。
But the detective's insistent remark, as he felt nothing in response to it. Ties to her parents had been cut from a very young age. Parents' reputation to uphold, so a child that caused problems, like Ayase, had been inconvenient to them, to say the least. The only remaining contact with them was the wire transfer received from her living expenses each month. It would hardly be called that.
申し訳ないっす。
Detective apologized, bowing down hastily. Ayase had only gotten just over the shock of her flashback. There was no mood to speak with him. Nevertheless, she urged herself to talk all the same.
聞きたいことって何？アリバイ？
違うっすよ。それは前に散々聞いたし。もう綾瀬ちゃんの容疑は晴れたっす。君は白、真っ白。
目星はついたの？犯人の。
それは教えられないんすよ。捜査上の秘密っす。
匠。
秘密っす。
No. Detective smirked. He was tempted to laugh the question away. Yet something unrefined could be seen through the cracks of that smile.
しかし西条くんは不思議な少年っすね。彼を見ていると殺人の容疑者にはとても見えない。
What?
もしあれで本当に犯人だったとしたら、まさに人の皮をかぶった悪魔っす。
まだ容疑者なの？彼。
いや、そういうわけじゃないっすよ。
Detective casually denied it with a smile, putting Ayase's persistent questions to rest.
ああ、今の話誰にも言っちゃダメっすからね。情報漏洩すると上司に怒られるんすよ。まあ当然なんすけど。この前も先輩のとばっちりで怒られたばっかで。
Why doesn't it put Suwa? We know who it is. Won't put his name there.
綾瀬ちゃんも一度会ってると思うんすけど、
This is young detective.
覚えてるかな。バンさんっていう髪がボサボサで武将髭生やしたおっさんでか。
Yes, I need to remember him. When she'd been questioned, the older detective had been more talkative than the younger one she was conversing with now. His way of speaking had been a lot more assertive as
あ
well.
の人がすぐこのバカって怒鳴るんすよ。そのくせ自分は本来の捜査をせずに、なんだかわけのわからないことばっか調べてて、挙句の果てに自分まで無理やり付き合わされて、最近胃が痛いんすよね。いや、まあ根はいい人っすし、勘が異常に鋭い人で、過去にも難事件をいくつか解決に導いたらしいんすけどね。
その話をするためここに来たの？
Yes, I interrupted the man, and his smile quickly soured.
ああ、いや、申し訳ないっす。つい愚痴入っちゃったっすね。今の話は全面的に内緒にしてほしいっす。諏訪守、一生のお願いっすよ。
Finally says his name.
それで
一つ目は、なんであんなことを？
Why'd you do it? That is ambiguous phrasing. Ayase could tell he was referring to her diving off the school rooftop.
もう何度も話したわ。他の刑事さんに。
邪神王グラジオールの復活を阻止するためですか？
死ぬつもりなんてなかった。魂を一つ上のステージに持っていこうとしただけよ。
Just like this Heaven's Gate, guys.
例の若者の間で話題になった君の歌についても似たようなこと言ってたっすよね。
That was the second question he got for. Ayase let out a faint sigh.
ニュージェネのことを歌ったものなんかじゃないわ。あの詩はグラジオール記目視録詩編のインスピレーションを受けて作った第3章102節よ。
Not real, okay, good.
世界に邪神王グラジオールが現れようとしている。復活を阻止するにはグラジオールが流した黒い血によって作られた7つの杭が必要。杭は剣へと形を変え、神罰を乗り越えた7人の黒騎士の手に渡る。目には目を、歯には歯を。邪神を背負いし人間だけが邪神王を滅ぼせるの。
なんか映画みたいっすね。そういう壮大な設定は好きっす。
Yes, they glared the detective response to his comment.
設定じゃないわ。現実よ。
じゃあ最後の質問っす。
I think you've casually brushed away Ayasa's objection. Well, he's used to this form of dismissal by now. That's the person she told the story to, so far, I believe it.
君や西条くんの他にも水明の生徒について何人か洗ったんすけどね。
Detective mumbled to himself as he folded his arms. It was very obviously another act of theatrics. Ayasa had no intention of commenting on it.
何？
すごくバカバカしい質問なんすけど、刑事が質問するようなことじゃないんすよね、本当は。子供じみてるっていうか。
そう。質問する気がないなら出て行って。頭が痛いの。
ああ、いや、実はね、バンさんが妙なことを言い出してるんすよ。君たちは魔法使いなんじゃないかって。
Wizards. On hearing that, the subject of the remark was plural. Ayase raised her eyebrows in suspicion.
違いますよね。
使えるわ。
We're wizards. As she replied, Ayase's line of sight was directed not towards the man, but toward her hand that lay atop her bed sheets.
綾瀬ちゃんって面白い子っすね。
でも、ニュージェネはグラジオールの騎士とは無関係。
ああ、そうっすか。まあどうでもいいんすけどね。
The detective, completely disinterested in what Ayase had just said, brushed off her words once again, then began to stretch. The moment he did so, a digital sound slicked up through the silence of the room. The detective, surprised by this interruption, reached into his pocket and took out his cell phone.
まずった。病院って携帯禁止なんですよね。電源オフにしておくの忘れてた。うわ、しかも女からだし。付き合って4年になるラブラブの彼女がいるんですよ。
Turned his phone off with a grin, forcing the caller to hang up, and turned to Ayase once more.
綾瀬ちゃんは映画見るっすか？スパークウォーズって知らない？それに出てくるダース・スパイダー伯爵のテーマなんす。今のメロディー。
That was supposed to be the Empire theme from Star Wars. Ayase had no interest in movies, nor anything of the sort. Long since decided that she'd been no obligation to further entertain the detective's questioning, turned to gazing silently outside the window.
実は自分スパークウォーズオタクなんすよ。あ、興味ないっすか？そりゃ失礼したっす。じゃ、自分はこれで。
With that, the detective concluded the conversation, which he had no partner, then left the hospital room. Ayase did not even turn around to watch him go. The man gone, all that reflected in her eyes was the twilight sky slowly turning indigo.
このボケナス、ずっと待ってたんだからね。あなたのことなんか大嫌い。でも大好き。
There were days that serotonin she moved around the monitor. Final episode of Blood Tutor aired deep into last night. It was gradually getting more and more intense. Set up particularly high praise on @channel. The third time I'd seen it. None of it was really sticking with me. Checked the time and saw it was past 10 p.m. Remy left around 8. She'd been here, she encouraged my depressed self in many ways, and she'd said many nice things to me. Thanks for being by my side, I felt less lonely than the entire week prior. That being said, Remy still wasn't talking about this, taking the situation all that seriously. Like she was avoiding talking about New Gen entirely. Maybe she was done with it, with me. Ren had been hurt in the earthquake, and it sounded like she had a lot on her plate with just that. She probably just didn't have any room left to bother with me and my problems. But the issue with that was, while yes, I was probably way too paranoid, there was no doubt that this was another extremely dangerous situation. I could be killed today even. Shogun had been coming after me all this time, persistent to even begin to cover it. If I could just understand what he was doing or why he was doing it, I could work out some countermeasures. What's up, Pseudo? Yeah, Remy came back. And it was like nothing ever happened. It's getting very confusing, this game. Homeless man.
中でも一番特別なのはその目、誰の目を産み落とした少年。
No! Is that me? Whose eyes are those eyes? You hear those words all over in Shibuya by now on the net. Become synonymous with the culprit. It's a phrase I'd used pretty often for a really long time. Without a doubt, a message from Shogun, who knew that. Either that or as an intentional way of provoking me. I first started using that. When did I first start using that phrase? I feel like someone had taught it to me. I can remember the first time I'd used it. An essay I'd written back in elementary school. I thought it was that very same phrase. Whose eyes are those eyes? I almost completely forgotten, but I'd actually written in it. I wanted to check now. What had I written in that essay? Probably stored at my parents' place. Feeling they might have thrown it away by now. And again, when it came to things that were pretty important to me as a kid, I have a habit of storing them in a pretty big empty candy tin I used to call my treasure box. It could potentially have been in there. What to do? Should I go to my parents? But Nanami. I didn't want to show my face to Nanami. Wouldn't know what you'd say. I wouldn't know what to say.
僕はどうしようもなくヘタレだ。
Slugishly rose from his seat, then collapsed onto the sofa.
あなた、なんでここにいんの？これは違うんだからね。私は別にさ、立ち食いそばが好物なわけじゃないさ。何ニヤニヤしてんの？このボケナス。もう怒った。うなれ！侍コンデンサー！
Lying face up, I gazed at this thing while ignoring Sage protesting. That dreary bare steel ceiling. Like when I rode my parents' house, there was a single groove in the ceiling that looked like a person's face. Suddenly, in the corner of my vision, I noticed a familiar tin sitting by the eroge piled up on my loft
あ
bed.
れって。
I hurriedly stood up and climbed the ladder to get a closer look. Reddish brown rectangular tin, about the size of a B5 piece of paper. The word shortbed was written on the lid in white letters. There's no mistaking it. It was my treasure box. I must have bought it from my parents' place. I definitely don't remember doing so. Good job, me. I was thinking ahead. Quickly grabbed the tin and opened the lid. Inside were a few test answer sheets, essays, scraps of paper torn out from sketchbooks, and so on. Mostly all paper, but there was still a couple of small objects in there. I took all the pages from the tin out at once and began flipping through them for my target. Didn't take long to find. After all, I was at the very top. Oh! Essay paper had faded in color. Handwriting, not even a mother could call it good. Could this essay be hiding some kind of important secret? Something Shogun was particularly exploiting? Something had to do with why the homeless man referred to me as the most special? With a gulp, began to read it one word at a time. Be careful not to overlook anything. Whose eyes are those eyes? Gumi Class 4-3. I dream a lot. In my dreams, older me visits me in a... No! No! I don't like this at all. Dreams, older me visits me in a time machine. He doesn't look like me at all. His time machine has a lot of buttons. I think if you push a shower or some shampoo or something comes out. He asked older me how it works. He said you could go see dinosaurs. You can go back when cavemen were around. He asked me what I'm bad at school and said I'm bad at math. He told me there was a switch that would make me really good at math. I tried to push it once, but he got mad. Then I work hard and get better by myself. The other time he got mad at me. After he stopped being mad, he was super nice, so I was happy. He told me about the girl I was going to marry. That's a secret. I asked him about God. He told me God is real. I think he's real too. My mom said God is always watching and he'll make you go to hell if you do bad things. Absolutely never do bad things. Be nice to my little sister too. Mom told me God doesn't watch you do bad things, but it's a scary man instead. A scary man whose eyes are those eyes is the whose eyes are those eyes monster. He needs to go to hell if he sees you. God's eyes and whose eyes are those eyes are in the sky, the ceiling, the walls, and a lot of them in my school, watching me no matter what. I think I have to do a lot of good things like studying. other stuff because of that. It's embarrassing though because they watch me even though I do things like go to the toilet or take a bath. Also, ever since I was little, I could close my eyes and dream something even though I wasn't sleeping, like it was inside of my head, like it was a video game or a manga. When I do that though, whose eyes are those eyes monster comes out, so I don't want to do that. That's my mom, she told me not to do it. Well, while I'm writing this essay, I asked older me in my dreams to tell me more about the time machine because he said I knew everything. But he said I knew everything. He wouldn't tell me more stuff because I'm just a kid. So from now on, I'm just going to do lots of good things. So I can beat whose eyes are those eyes. The end. No damn future move. What?
なんだかよくわからないな。
We've been all around the time of first feeling God's gaze. I was going through some sort of phase back then. Either way, trying to understand anything from this extremely cryptic essay was beyond impossible. I feel like it's easy to decipher a bunch of hieroglyphics than it would be trying to figure out what the hell I was talking about. As I noticed that, I noticed something was scribbled on the back of the page. What do you think of it? Hadn't I loved doodling back then? Yeah, my social studies textbooks, the pictures of historic figures would always have mustaches and sunglasses drawn on them, and my notebooks always have flipbook-esque animations drawn in the corners. Back then I started drawing more and more, to the point where I even got my parents to buy me a sketchbook. Although to clarify, it wasn't like my drawings were anything to write home about. Immersing myself in nostalgia, I turned the essay over to check what I'd scribbled on it. What? What the hell is this? It's an incomprehensible drawing. While I was definitely incomprehensible, there was still something familiar about it. Like I said, that's what I see every time I go into a delusion. Something I'd seen recently.
IR2
Kind of formula there. It was mathematical formula. Some other kind of meaning or so was just a meaningless string of numbers and letters. I had no idea. But what? Shogun knew the formula. No, oh my god. This formula was exactly when Shogun had posted out of nowhere when he first came in contact with me in this chat room. His eyes are those eyes on IR2. Two key things that come from the essay I'd written many years ago. Things that even I myself had forgotten. Shogun knew them, so Shogun's me in the future? That would mean that he'd been reading my mind after all.
Aww.
Oh. In the freezer reception room, or rather the narrow space partitioned off by a few shelves being used as one, Bond sat deep in concentration, scanning through a number of files. Opposite him sat Yua, huddled up, making herself small. She would be taking frequent glances at Bond in an attempt to read his expression. From an outsider's perspective, it almost appeared like a child showing their parent their report card. Bond was currently reading the report of everything. What's your diagnosis? You had investigated concerning the new gen cases in Nishijo Takumi. Also include the chat log between Takumi and Shogun from the day prior to the crucifixion case. As a result of our findings, you had concluded that Takumi was doubted the true culprit behind the new gen cases.
すごいわね。これ全部一人で調べたの？
はい、一応。
Girl hung her head apologetically in response to Momose's praise. She stared at the Giro froggy strap hanging from the bag below her feet. She was speaking with a detective and the boss of an investigation firm. In terms of investigating, they're as professional as one could get. Compared to their prowess, information gathered by the investigation of an ordinary high school girl would be akin to childish scribblings. Yet, despite the supposed gap, Bond and Momose found themselves impressed by the quality of the report.
なかなかいい着眼点だ。よく調べたな。とりわけこの西条匠の多重性ってのが興味深い。
Uh-oh. They're on to me.
西条匠は多重人格であり、オリジナルとなった西条匠の人格が眠っている時、つまり他の人格が活動中に事件を起こしている。本当に面白いわ。まあでもちょっとばかり現実離れしすぎてるかな。
What?
刑事さんはその西条くんのこと犯人だって考えてないんですか？
はっきり言っていいかい？警察じゃ西条匠は容疑者として見ていない。
He's too weak.
へえ、そうなの。
Not just Yua, but Mosek gaped in amazement as well. Someone gasped in amazement. A wry smile formed on Ben's lips. Leaned back in the seat and rested the back of his head in his hands.
少なくとも貼り付け事件じゃ西条は白だ。遺体を貼り付けていた杭には指紋がべったり付着しててな。西条の指紋を手に入れて照合してみたんだが全く合致しなかった。
そんな。
Yua was turning paler by the second. Her lips trembled. Now that everything she had believed had collapsed beneath her feet, feelings of guilt and awful things she said to Takumi encroached upon her heart.
杭にあった指紋から容疑者についてはほぼ固まってんだ。まだマスコミにも公表してないけどな。ちなみにそれ諏訪のお手柄だったりする。
諏訪ちゃんは頑張ってるっていうのに、バンちゃんはよくここでのんびりしていられるわね。
実はあれ捜査本部から外されたんだわ。
I'm fired.
はあ
はあ。
本来の捜査サボって G レートのこととか調べてんの上司にバレちゃってな。
This was the reason why subordinate Suwa had been the one to inform of the 7th incident. There had been no reason for anyone else to call him an investigator who was no longer working on the case.
あんたね、もっとうまく立ち回りなさいよ。まあバンちゃんに G レートのことを教えた私にも責任はあるけど。
気にすんなって。それに G レートの件は個人的にも気になってたんだ。
What's the GE rate though?
まあ西条にしても貼り付け以外の事件じゃまだ捜査線上にいる。もしかするとユアちゃんの推理が正しいかもしれん。
ニュージェネは同一犯による連続殺人事件じゃないって警察は考えてるの？
まだなんとも。ただついさっき第7の事件が起きたようだしな。個人的には犯人は複数いると思ってる。いろいろ喋っちまった。口外したって知られたらクビになっちまう。今のはオフレコな。
Ron playfully placed his forefinger on his lip.
で、本題なんだが。
Marion thought that her report had been the reason she'd been summoned. Yua tilted her head in puzzlement.
聞きたいことってのは学校のことなんだよ。ユアちゃんは青井瀬名って子を知ってるかい？君の同級生のはずなんだが。
Pondered for a moment, Yua shook her head
名
apologetically.
前は聞いたことがあるような気がしますけど、話したことはありません。
ああ、そうか。
The only Senna I know is Senna Shiori.
その人が犯人なんですか？
ああ、全くの別件だ。昨日徹夜したのもその子のこと調べてたからでな。
あんたさっき女子高生の生態がどうとかって。
Almost ever perplexed, received a wink and a grin from Ban. Before I turned back to Yua.
例えば学校でものすごい手品を使う女生徒がいるって噂を聞いたことは？
いえ、ありませんけど。
さっぱり話が見えない
No
わ
one in
ね。
her school has powers.
何のこと？
例えば何もない空間から剣を取り出すような手品とか。
His head snapped up. Expression was one of blatant astonishment.
どうしてそれ？
Being the one to ask the question, and also looked surprised in his face.
心当たりがあるのか？
He hesitated, then after a moment nodded
どこ
resolutely.
で見た？
駅の近くの地下道です。西条くんと岸本さんが。
フェスだな。それで
Yua briefly recounted a dramatic pursuit from around 2 weeks prior. She had gone to the manga cafe to meet Nishijo Takumi. Been a little forceful when talking to him, causing him to flee. He chased him around Shibuya. He managed to evade her. All right, when she was about to give up, she had stumbled upon Takumi and Ayase entering the underpass.
だから私、その階段の上から 二人の様子をこっそり伺っていたんです。
Kaidan staircase.
二人は階段の一番下で何か話していて、どんなことを話していたかは聞き取れなかったんですけど、そしたら突然岸本さんが剣を何もないところから取り出したんです。すごく大きな剣でバッグにも入らないような。
まさか。
俺が見たものと同じだな。
You saw it too.
俺が見たのは岸本じゃなかったかな。さっき名前を出した青井瀬名っていう少女だ。
He also has a sword. They all have swords, including Kozupi.
実は葵が剣を振り回してたっていう目撃証言が渋谷のあちこちから出てる。
その手品、渋谷の若い子たちの間で流行ってるのかしら。
It's a magic. It's a new trend.
でも
Pulling swords out of air.
私が見たあれは手品にはとても見えませんでした。それに
他にも何か見たの？
信じてもらえるかどうかわからなくて、誰にも話したことはないんですけど、あの時岸本さんは剣を出しただけじゃなくて、
Those words faltered. She slowly licked her lips. She looked lost whether or not she should continue. Her eyes darted around the room. And she steeled her resolve and fixed her gaze upon Ban.
二人に分身したんです。
Oh yeah, they made the two of them.
まるで本当にその場に二人いるみたいでした。
One of them was in her underwear.
私、わけがわからなくて。
Oh. Silence covered the reception room. All three within it were at a complete loss for words.
とにかく一体どんな種があるのかわかんねえが、そんな手品みてえな真似ができる連中がこの渋谷には何人かいるらしい。それと岸本綾瀬も青井瀬名も西条匠と接触したことは確認済みだ。これが偶然とは思えねえわけよ。
After the psych ward. Alright, is that better? Alright.
西条くん、
あの少年の周囲ではどうも現実離れしたことばかりが起きてるような気がする。
As Ban said that his words from this call before reappeared in his mind.
怪獣か魔法使いで済ませられるならよっぽどいいけどな。
Ban's memory did not reach the other two. First, the gloomy atmosphere, one must take a breath and sip on the tea her subordinate brought over to her. Then, she put the cup back down. She put on a smile and unceremoniously made the change of the top deck. Made a change
と
of
こ
the
ろで
top
岩
deck.
ちゃん、そのカバンにぶら下がってるカエル、最近流行ってるんでしょ？
はい。
Yua gave a sigh of relief, having been saved by the kind company president.
なんて言うんだっけ？
ゲロカエルンです。
いろいろ種類が出てるんじゃなかった？ 10 種類ぐらい。
はい。私は友達からもらっただけなので詳しくは知らないんですけど。
なんだってこんな手抜き商品が流行るんだろうな。見た目だって俺の方がずっと可愛いぞ。
バンちゃん、寝言は寝てから言いなさい。
冗談だって。
私も実はどうして流行っているのかよくわからないんです。
あら、結構可愛いと思うけどね。
ももちゃんの見る目も衰えたな。
世論は私の方が正しいって証明してるじゃない。バンちゃんも買いに行った方がいいわよ。
一体どこへ行けば買えるものなんだ？
ゲロカエルンの専門ショップがあちこちにあって。
専門ショップだ？
そこで金曜日に行列に並べば買えると思います。
No.
金曜日。
毎週金曜日に新しいデザインのものが発売になるんです。好きな子はコンプリートとか言って全部集めてるみたいで。
Trying to catch them all. While Yu was in the midst of speaking, Bond turned to Mimose while stretched and stubble on his chin.
金曜か。流行るとは思えないものが流行ってて、G レートは毎週末に上昇する。
まさかバンちゃん。
当たってみる価値はあるかもな。
G rates making people go crazy by those frogs. Knew it. First apologize. Second, I poked my head into school on Thursday. Misumi-kun immediately invited me to go see Ayase in the hospital with him. Given that the idea hadn't even crossed my mind, it caught me off guard. I didn't be able to respond. Mimi said she wanted to come too for whatever reason. I ended up getting swept along with her as a result. Now, let me be clear, I had a heart and all. Considering the menace known as Shogun was drawing closer and closer to me, I think this was exactly the time to show it. I didn't want to die. Coming in through the front entrance, Misumi-kun looked around the lobby in confusion.
どうしたの？
いや、岸本の病室ってどこなんだろうなって思ってよ。
You seriously come this far without knowing that? This guy's beyond belief sometimes.
ここは外来棟だよ。病棟は隣。
そうなのか。
大臣、しっかりしてよ。
Tokyo General Hospital. Hospital I've gone to ever since I was a kid. I didn't come just the other day, so I was pretty knowledgeable on everything was. Dr. Takashina's face flashed across my mind. I involuntarily groaned to myself. As we walked to the hospital, Misumi-kun turned to me.
で、病棟の何号室だと思う？
そんなのわかんないよ。
This is a general hospital. Obviously, there's a ton of different wards and departments. If I had to guess,
多分外科じゃないかな。でももしかすると精神科かも。
How many visual injuries on Naos after she'd fallen? Considering she attempted suicide, or might have likely brought it to the brink. So she'd been in the psychiatric ward. It seemed very possible. You and I had been taken to the psych ward after the uproar at O-Front.
タクって物知りだな。
常識でしょ、常識。ね、タク。
I think it's necessarily common sense. I might have notified to come here so many times in the past. As we were entering the hospital ward, Remy ground to a halt.
私、お手洗い行ってくる。先に行ってて。
What? Wave of her hand, Remy quickly headed down the outpatient ward. Thinking that wandering around the ward causes problems with the patients, we decided to ask for help at the nurses' station. Just like I predicted, they told us she was on the floor for psychiatric patients. There's her sword. It's not there. Hospital area of around 10 square meters. There's a bathroom right at the entrance. There was a bed near the back. The setting sun shone through the window on the other side of the room. Ase wasn't in the bed. Based on the sheets were a little messed up. Like she'd been there until very recently.
どこ行ったんだ？
さあ。
Window was open. The wind blew against the white curtains, sending them fluttering in the breeze. I absent-mindedly approached the window. Not because I planned to look at anything in particular, nor because I intended to close the window. It was an action without intention. I just started moving. So right before the window, when I went to look up the sky, a figure flashed by. Not so much as a sound, someone fell from above. For a split second, I made eye contact with them. Yep, she jumped off and flew by. The figure quickly vanished. After that, a fierce crash reverberated from below.
なんだ？
I sank to the floor, my body started trembling all over. But had just fallen, but I knew the answer to the question. It was Ayase. I fallen from above and plummeted to the ground. I will certainly be there if I had looked down. Sprawled on the ground, covered in blood, gray matter scattered everywhere. My eyes met the very instant before she died. The last person Ayase had seen had been me. The last person Ayase alive had been me. Closer to a groan than anything, a scream gushed forth from my mouth. At that moment, my mind broke. Oh.
見ろよ、タク。変な本があるぞ。
Then I realized Misumi-kun was calling me. I wasn't standing by the window, but in the corner of the hospital room. Freaked out, I rushed to the window and looked down. Phew, just been delusion. These were about to give out any second, so I grabbed the window to keep myself standing. He had taken a magazine from high up on the shelf and started staring at it fixedly.
ヌーだぜ、ヌー。この雑誌、まだ続いてたんだな。
New was a magazine that focused on all facets of the occult. UFOs, aliens, ESP, religions, urban legends, mysterious phenomena, super ancient religions, UParts, etc. Wasn't difficult at all to believe that our victory, everyone's schizo shit-loving Ayase would be reading it.
こっちの文庫本は、何々グラジオール記目視録詩編ファンタジー小説っぽいな。
I wasn't familiar with that specific book, but the term gladiole did ring a bell. Ever heard it again? Pretty recent.
岸本と付き合うとなると、この趣味に合わせないといけねえのか。大変そうだぜ、これは。
You still not giving up on dating Ayase? You after being turned down by like an instant last time?
Huh?
The D-sword! Suddenly Ayase's D-sword came into my view out of the corner of my eye. Leaning against the window. It looked like some kind of a space battleship right out of a sci-fi movie. My opinion on it really hadn't changed, either. It was an awesome-looking sword. Just an equal parts beauty and cruelty. Even though it wasn't glowing, even though it was just leaning against a window, it still had a typical impressive feeling of presence to it. Misumi-kun showed no sign of noticing the sword. Huh. So I know people couldn't see them after all. Wonder if I were to take it without Ayase knowing, would the sword become mine? I could really obtain a D-sword with zero effort. There'd be no time to waste here. The desire to do so bubbled up within me. The gulp, I timidly, ever so timidly, reached out to the sword. I grasped the hilt. Well, I tried to grasp it. My hand gone right through it, leaving me grasping only thin air. But once more, the result was no different. Couldn't grab it. I couldn't even touch it. That means the sword wasn't real booted? As mutual recognition hadn't even been achieved, it was no more than Ayase's delusion. An illusion, a dream, an after-image.
何やってんだお前。
Sumika looked at me in confusion. I get a D-sword. Then waited for around 10 minutes, but Ayase saw no signs of coming back. Same thing with Rimi. She was still in the bathroom, apparently. Where could she have actually gone?
リミって、この病室の場所知ってたか？
あ、
That's the location after Rimi left. She could be wandering around the hospital.
あいつバカだからな。俺たちみたいに誰かに聞こうって発想がないのかもしんねえぞ。
探しに。
Felt uneasy not being with Rimi. Couldn't say for sure, but this hospital was safe. Shogun reading my mind right now. You know that I was here.
そうだな。待つのも飽きたし、タクもあいつがいないと寂しいだろうからな。なあ、ぶっちゃけ、リミとはどうなんだ？
え？
Visiting Yoda.
付き合ってんのかって聞いてんだよ。お前ら、最近結構いい感じじゃね？
Me and Rimi were getting it on. No, you're not. Alright, no, I'm not. But I know a guy who did. No, you don't. No, I do not. But you can imagine. I'm just kidding.
付き合ってないよ。
Despite what I had said, my face was still flushed. Me and Rimi dating? I'm sure that I had delusions of that many times. I've been interested in 3D in the past, but nowadays Rimi is becoming more and more important with every passing day. But back when Rimi said she'd stay by my side, she also said the following.
そんなの友達だからに決まってるでしょ。
In other words, she only saw me as a friend. No way hell she'd want to start a romantic relationship with an otaku freak like me. Besides, Rimi would probably be slow in the uptake with that kind of thing. Split ways with Misumi-kun and went to look for Rimi or Ayase. Misumi-kun had gone downstairs, so I took my search above.
Amisha! Roha! Amisha!
Asked by an older patient in the corridor, probably in his best 50s. He staggered down the hall while calling to someone named Ami-chan over and over again. Ignored him and headed further up the corridor. Never seemed to mind me wandering around the hospital, maybe since I'd come here pretty often. For every corner I turned, for every door I saw open, my heart rate increased and thought the Shogun might be peering from one of them. Not only that, the occasional crazed screams and cries come from any number of directions weren't exactly good for my mental state. The corridor was uniformly dyed a cream color. Some of the rooms were open, some were closed. To make sure there were no signs of Shogun being around, I picked into a whole bunch of them. I showed my 2 beds lined up next to each other, with a person-shaped bulges lying underneath the sheets, likely sleeping patients. Faces were always in blind spots, I couldn't see them. There were too many people walking around the corridors. Just a man called for Ami-chan and a single nurse. There's only 2 I'd seen pass by. I didn't really want to be here. I didn't really know why, but the feeling... I didn't know, but the feeling refused to leave me. The atmosphere was heavy. It wasn't oppressive per se. I had the nagging feel that I shouldn't have been there. A little farther in front of me, the corridor made a 90-degree turn to the right. The hospital rooms continued through there, I wondered. As I pondered, I cautiously turned the corner. What? Immediately met with a wall. It's in the middle of my path, and in a vast contrast, the entirely cream-colored hospital is covered with black paint from top to bottom. Complete dead end. For some reason I didn't know. My pulse quickened. Didn't move a single step from where I stood. The black wall. The black wall. I wobbled and shook. It was just vertigo. I tried to close my eyes and massage my eyelids with my fingertips. I feel my eyeballs twitching beneath them. Until those closed eyes crawled up from my feet. So dead in my tracks, forgetting even how to breathe. I stared at the black wall in front of me. It felt as if it sucked me in, as if it swallowed me whole. Deep, never-ending darkness. Shouldn't have been anyone there. Like someone was watching me. God's gaze pierced the nape of my neck. His presence was at a completely different level compared to how it felt me at my base. Don't look. Muster all my mental strength, I managed to close my eyes. I was able to breathe again. I stepped back, gasping for breath, and face down toward the ground. I fled through the corridor. Started back to the floor with Ayasu's room, gasping and wheezing all the way. I touched my neck and felt sticky sweat oozing from it. The sweat wasn't just coming from there. My entire body was drenched in it. What the hell was going on? Was Shogun reading my mind? Come at me, father. The presence of God gaze wouldn't go away. Wheezing and shivering refused to calm down. Exhaustion devoured my motivation in an instant. I wanted to go home. When I Rimi take care of me as we locked ourselves in my base. It wasn't going to visit Ayasu would make her happy. If anything, it would probably do the complete opposite. I was an idiot for coming along with Masumi-kun. This guy clearly had an agenda. It was complete odds with me. I had no reason to be here. So just go home. Where either Shogun or Yua appeared. Always appeared whenever I least expected it. I bet they'd pinned down where I was with ease. No matter where I was, I needed to be prepared. Tracing the wall with my hand, I staggered my way back to Ayasu's hospital room. Had Masumi-kun gotten back yet? Hoping he found Rimi, I dragged my legs forward.
山井さんがまたアミーちゃんっていう名前を呼んでたんですよ。
I heard the voice of a nurse coming from ahead. Looking up, I saw the 2 of them were walking in my direction. One was young, and one was a well-built, middle-aged
一
lady.
体誰のことを探してるのか。
それこの病院に伝わる怪談よ。誰も知らない幻の病室があって、そこにアミーちゃんが入院してるらしいわ。
Oh my god, no! It's beyond the black wall, go back there!
もう何年も前からある噂。
I looked back down and waited for the 2 to pass by, held my breath to hide my ragged breathing. Each other gave me suspicious looks, but they still ignored me all the same. After the 2 nurses passed me, I continued my endeavor and arrived at the nurse's station. I must have missed Ayasu's room. Or it should have been a bit before. I clicked my tongue, wiped the sweat off my forehead. I still felt like I was being watched. The depths of my chest throbbed with pain. My ears were ringing too. It was absolutely terrible. My body was a total wreck. I hadn't felt anything like this since when I first got here. What happened to me in my body? The pain overwhelming me, it becoming too much to bear. I would ask for help from the nurses at the nurse's station. There's only one nurse there. It's Hazuki. She didn't seem to have noticed me. Her back was turned to me, and she was mumbling something while deeply absorbed in whatever she was working on. My hand was a clipboard. She was writing something on the form stuck to it.
信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ。
Oh.
信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ、信仰の救いあれ。
This person before. She's a nurse, Hazuki-san. Oh, this is the aged Tokyo General Psychiatry Ward. What's she been here? Already attempted to be twice the past month alone. Oh man, this is perfect. If I called out to her, she'd surely help me with whatever I... Urgent sounding ringing noise suddenly rang throughout the room. Hazuki-san put down her clipboard in surprise and operated a switch with her hand. The ringing sound was cut off. probably been paid to do some nursing things. She rushed out of the nurse's room station in a flurry. Why hadn't she noticed me? Even though I was suffering from so much pain right behind her, I could barely stay standing. The vertigo was awful. No other choice. I decided to go to the nurse's station to wait for someone to get back. I had a stool where Hazuki-san had been standing, then sat down. Head ached. Felt like it had ached. It felt like it had back when the earthquake hit a week ago. What? All right. but this pain had a different nature to it. Or so it felt anyway. I needed something to drink. Just trying to breathe hurt my throat. Likely because of all the gasping and wheezing I've been doing. I casually looked around the area. My eyes then landed upon the clipboard Hazuki-san had been holding. In the very next moment, it was scrawled on it into my field of vision. Oh no. No! The crucifixion! What is going on? What is going on? This game makes no sense. Why'd she do that? Whenever I gone in for a checkup, Hazuki-san had always been writing something on the clipboard of hers, all having the same gentle smile on her face. She ran on prescriptions she'd been planning on giving me by temperature, things like that. That was why. What was wrong that was beyond my comprehension. It's the crucifixion case. Seen it before. I've seen a shittily drawn sketch somewhere before. But where would I have seen it? Yeah, they sent it to me. I forgot about that. My head ached. The stabbing pierced. The exact same thing. Stabbing pain pierced through it. Here's the nape of my neck stood on end. What? You go there? Don't look at me. Picked up the clipboard. Countless medical forms were clipped onto it. Went to flip of the page. Second piece of paper, it's the same shitty drawing. To the next page. It's a flip book. The results are the same. Flip through them. No animation. 4th, 5th, and the 6th. With the exact same drawing scribbled on it again and again and again. It's drawing. It's a crucifixion. Even if it fell on the roof of an old building in Shinsen, the building atop where Nishijo Takumi Container's house stood as still as death. It was Aoi Sena's second time visiting it. First time had been a few days prior, following her encounter with Kozue and Takumi and the Sentra guy. She had gone out to tell the boy in secret. Well, this location was set. Through this, the location was set in stone in her mind. We're here to commit various deeds. Senna regarded Kozue in a cold manner, refusing to even turn around to view her sagging shoulders, not her long face. Did you fire me? Then I covered to infiltrate Takumi's room. Nishijo Takumi is not normal. That was the conclusion she had to come to speak with him many times. No doubt in her mind that he was distinctly different to normal gigolo maniacs like Kozue and herself. Even this delusional ability so abnormal proved terrifying? He could perhaps be receiving some kind of artificial support. Regardless of which it might be, the uncertain nature of Takumi greatly bothered Senna. As the current movement, she was searching for the man known as Hatano. There was a very real possibility that Nishijo Takumi had some kind of connection to him. No conclusive evidence of this, but through investigating even the most lightly suspicious things with her own eyes, possibilities might be torn down one by one. With such methodology, she would find her target with absolute certainty. That was Senna's creed. Nor had a padlock attached to it. A slight scoff, she swung down her D-sword that had been preemptively rebooted. The padlock was effortlessly smashed to pieces. I confirmed that Takumi had been heading from school towards the station with his two friends. However, even if he were to find out, it would make no difference to her. When they came to attend to goal, Senna had no qualms with others coming to detest her, even being reported to the police. She opened the door and stepped into the room. Taking like grimace, the disastrous cesspool of room, the endless piles of trash forced to groan from her mouth. Kitanai ne?
なんで楽しそうなんだ、小杖。
靴は脱いだ方がいいのかな?
Sigh, Senna ventured deeper into the room, shoes still adorning her feet.
お人形さんいっぱいなのら。 たくみさんって変態さんだったんだ。すごいな。
Oh no, that's what figures. That's all the figures mean. Let me take down all the ones behind me. Paying no heed to Kozue, who seemed oddly impressed. Then I stood before the PC, turned the power on without hesitation, and scoured the desk with her eyes as she waited. Furrowing her brow, she picked up a sheet of paper that had been left out on the desk, an essay. What? Don't read that. Don't read it. No, it's proof.
その目、誰の目だ。
Kozue had peeked at the essay from behind Senna's back, and she was now jumping up and down in excitement.
やっぱり、たくみちゃんがその目誰の目の人だったのら。コズピーはパンパカパーンだったポーン。
Vast contrast to Kozue, Senna skimmed the essay with disinterest, then casually flipped it over. Next instant, her eyes widened in shock.
これは
It was drawn there. It was... Dun dun dun!
ポンピー、人がいっぱいだね。これロボットさん ?IR2 だって。セナさん
Sound of gritting teeth escaped from Senna's lips. Expression was far more grim than usual. Handled in the essay trembled with anger.
そうか。西条が IR2 を生み出した
He's the killer.
張本人か。
Voice forcefully stifled. She crushed a sheet of paper in her fist. Uh-oh. Left the nurse's station and stumbled around the hospital, my mind buried in fog. I was doing everything in my power to avoid thinking about what I'd just seen. Before I knew it, I myself standing at the landing on the staircases, with Musumi-kun gazing outside by the window.
どうしたタク？汗びっしょりじゃねえか。顔色も悪いし。あ、顔色悪いのはいつもか。
I want to shrug that.
もしかして走って探してたのか？そりゃバテもするぜ。無茶するね、お前って。
Wiped my sweat away and tried desperately to feign composure.
リミと岸本、見つけたぜ。
For what he'd said, I couldn't see either of them. Then for some reason he pointed outside the
あそ
window.
こだ。
Once I caught my breath, I approached the window. I could see the outpatient ward from it. Outpatient and hospital wards were separate buildings, accessible through a corridor connecting them. We're not that far apart, though. Hospital ward had many floors, and the landing I was looked slightly down on the roof of. The landing I was on looked slightly down on the roof of the outpatient ward. Jesus. On that roof, shrubbery sporting red flowers formed a makeshift garden. It seemed to be a place where patients went to relax. In the center of the garden, I could see Rimi and Ayase. Ayase was wearing pajamas. She was discussing something with Rimi. Those two should know each other, right?
なんか妙にシリアスに見えねえか。
Looked like they were glaring at each other. Suddenly, Ayase closed in on Rimi, slapped her right across the cheek. From where I was sitting, I could tell she hadn't held back one bit. Ayase then walked away from Rimi. She was heading in the direction of the passageway, so she was probably going back to her hospital room.
今ビンタしたよな。
Was that a bitch slap? Nodded. And after left behind, Rimi didn't move an inch. She simply stood there.
あの二人ってトラブル抱えてんのか？
It was. I knew nothing about it. Readily went along with Musumi-kun's proposal to pretend like we'd never seen what we'd seen, then decided to leave Rimi to her own devices and return to Ayase's room. Said my body had been mostly recovered by now, and God's gaze had vanished. There was a point where it felt like the horrible sickness I'd been feeling had never really been there in the first place. Musumi-kun let out a sound form in front of me. I looked up in response only to see Ayase walking over to us. Her head hung slightly limp, her gaze pointed downwards. Her steps were slow and lacked any energy. Her face was very pale, and her expression was, no surprise, intensely somber. Someone managed to bump into Ayase right before she went under hospital
よ
room.
岸本さん。
Musumi-kun gave the most eloquent greeting possible for him, Ayase raised her head in surprise. She looked at me, and despite seeming like she was on the brink of tears, she smiled at me. Why had she done that? She heard about the uproar that happened in front of Ofront, all the shameful things I'd done? Or she just back acting friendly? Or would be depressing.
俺たち君のお見舞いに来たんだよね。つうか岸本さん、パジャマ姿も可愛いじゃん。
This passive pickup artist had activated in barely any time at all. Talk about rushing the objective.
入って。
Although Ayase had treated Musume-kun pretty coldly before, she knew that this time. Instead, Ayase opened the door and invited us in. She didn't show a single hint of having slapped Rimi just a few minutes ago. Was she hiding it well? Or she just already gotten over it in such a short time? As per usual, I had no idea what Ayase was thinking.
やっぱ見舞いに来たのは正解だったぜ。今日は好感触だ。
Musume-kun gave a small fist pump while Ayase wasn't looking, and excitedly entered the room. I reluctantly followed after him. In all honesty, I wanted to head home with Rimi ASAP. I didn't have the courage to say anything to her. I don't know the reason why, but being so fiercely slapped like that must have made her pretty depressed. I knew I didn't have the words to encourage her. So let's go hang out with the person who slapped her instead. Thanks to the raid, dude! Very much appreciated, man. Ayase sat down on the bed, and Musume-kun very casually sat beside her. Talk about daring, I could not but be taken aback by Musume-kun's mode of attack. Ayase gave Musume-kun a single glance before fixing her gaze upon me. He started but so blatantly put me at a loss for exactly how I was supposed to respond. I didn't know what kind of expression to make, so I just ended up looking down at the floor.
怪我どう？もうだいぶ良くなってるみたいだけど。なんか必要なものあるなら遠慮なく言ってよ。俺がすぐ買ってきてやるぜ。
Focused intensely on Ayase's hand. If I had to guess, he was scheming how best to grab it. Fine, slender hand. Should I just go?
あ、小説とか読む？俺さ、グラジオール記目視録詩編ってのが好きなんだけど。岸本さん、知ってる？
That's her book.
匠、
Musume-kun's question answered. Ayase called my name.
君はグラジオールの7騎士の一人よ。
Oh god.
あ？
Right into the schizo shit, huh? In the mayhem surrounding her attempted suicide had been enough to change her at her core.
やっぱり導きだったんだわ。君と私が出会ったのは。
Quietly, dispassionately, Ayase narrated about what I could only tell, what I could call a total Chunin storyline.
君の邪神はとても強大。だからこそ言うことなしなのよ。黒騎士としての素質は。君が今経験している苦しみはすべて神罰。大いなる意志による試練なの。
What?
それを乗り越えたときに理想度は召喚されるわ。君の手に必ず。
Tested. And I got my D-sword.
そして現れるのよ。邪神の黒き大蛇。あらゆる崩壊を飲み込み、邪神王の身を砕くことのできる。同質にして異質なるものが。現実なの。グラジオールもディソードもカマイたちがその証。
Kamaitachi. That was Hiromu Takahashi's name when he was in CMLL.
実在しない現象は後世に言葉として残ることはないわ。知っている？語源を。カマエたち。
Oh, rid of a sword.
それは理想度を意味しているの。信じて、匠。グラジオールを倒すのよ。一緒に。
Good or bad? Bad deal. I remember the name. I think that term back when I first researching D-swords. I think that D-sword was a term used in literature and pseudepigrapha related to Legend of Gladiol, or more specifically a sword in it. I really wasn't sure though. I continued to think. Musume-kun quietly got up and started to walk toward me. I want to go right past me, but before he did, put his hand on my shoulder.
俺、外に出てるわ。タグ、押し倒しちまえよ。俺の読みじゃ、岸本はお前に脈ありだぜ。
え？
Flashed me a mischievous smile. He left the room, and of course, that meant that the only ones left in the room were me and Ayase. Oh. Oh no, it's silence. Despite having been going on for about all the schizo shit mere seconds ago, Ayase hung her head in complete silence. Her hands gripped the hem of her shirt. She rolled it up towards her, then straightened it back out again, then towards her and back again. So I had to say something, but I literally know what the hell she'd been talking about. Here's an idea. Since I come to visit her in the hospital, I could give her a few words of sympathy about her condition and call it good. Considering she'd been put in the psych ward, I can't exactly call it about her condition. I couldn't ask about her condition. What was I supposed to do? It was going to be like this. I was just left with Misumi-kun.
匠、
Someone made me jump. Asa raised her head, then held out both hands to me.
来て。こっちに、来て。
Unsure of what should be do if I unsure of what she would do if I refused, I took a very confused step towards the bed.
もっと。
Rajan took another step. My hands touched. Then taking hold of them, she swiftly pulled me in. Lowered her head once more. She stared intently in my hand.
君は、私を救ってくれた、命の恩人よ。
It wasn't true at all. I saved her by chance, nothing more. Not to mention I didn't even know whether I'd exactly created that flower bed in the first place.
ありがとう。
Yassi's voice was shaky. Was she crying? Mm-hmm. With the warm sensation on my fingertip, I looked down to see it was... the hell? For some reason I couldn't comprehend my interfixer was inside Ayase's mouth. This is the negative one? Let something soft and warm touch my fingertip. Wriggled the quarter on my finger that slipped into one of the gaps in the nail and flesh. How exactly have we gotten to this point? I was more confused than ever, but I didn't have the enemy to resist. Just felt way too good. I was now entirely at her mercy. All she was doing was lick my finger, so why was it so... I just suddenly switched to sharp pain as I bit my finger hard. Like she was biting right into the bone. That's how painful it was. I frantically tore my hand away and eventually managed to free it from Ayase's mouth. It's crazy. Wishing laughter filled me with fear. I quickly went to check the bite wound on my finger. Shown with Ayase's thick, slimy saliva. Blood dribbled from the tooth marks. But the blood wasn't red. It was a sinister black.
その血の色が、黒騎士の証よ。
What? Having a delusion like that, I was only able to endure Ayase's insane psychobabble. I paid attention to a single word Ayase had said, but she didn't seem to notice. Simply continued to talk about how Gladiol did this and Wicked Hearts did that, while having a very serious expression glued to her face.
すべてはお告げよ。すでに、渋谷に集っているはずなの。7人の黒騎士は。
Seven Black
あと
Knights.
は、全員が覚醒するだけ。急がないと、世界は滅びるわ。グラジオールの手によって。
Both our shoulders drooping towards the ground, Misumi-kun and I descended toward the first floor of the hospital ward.
俺、もう岸本のことはどうでもよくなった。これまでの俺のポリシーはな、タク。可愛ければ何でも許してやるだった。けどそりゃ間違ってたよ。あんな強烈なテンパ、俺には受け止めらんねえよ。素直に梢ちゃんだけ狙うことにするぜ。
Girl doesn't talk? Not exactly sure if that made things any better. I mean, Misumi-kun had an actual girlfriend he was dating.
お前、マジですごいな。岸本のあの脳みそお花畑の話、よく30分近くも聞いてられるよ。俺尊敬したぜ。
I dreamt she was sucking on my finger.
俺は3分も持たなかった。この俺がだぞ。
Don't ask me how. Oh, it actually tells you. Better listen to Misumi-kun. Focus on my surroundings as I walked. Then I found a dazed girl standing in front of the hospital outpatient lobby, Rimi. A side view, I didn't see a trace of her usual energy. She seemed deep in thought as she gazed up at the lingering sunset, hair fluttering in the chilly breeze.
おーいリミ
Rimi quickly turned over Sumiko and spoke, her face brimming with surprise, then gave us a big wave.
やっと見つかった
The sight of her smile filled me with relief, and instinctively ran up to her. Of course, I couldn't exactly bring myself to hug her or anything like that, so as far as I went.
タク感動の再会だねまた会えて嬉しい
どこほっつき歩いてたんだ
病室どこかわからなくてあちこちさまよっちゃったひどいよ置いてくなんて
Rimi made a show of pretending to cry.
お前が先に行けって言ったんだろ
そうだったねで岸本さんには会えた
I nodded, and Sumiko was grinning very obviously
お
beside
前
me.
岸本にビンタされてただろ
さて何のことでしょう
Rimi must have wanted to hide the fact that I asked I had slapped her. So I had been avoiding the topic and leaving it at that. Read their damn room, Sumiko.
隠そうったって無駄だぜ俺は一部始終を見てたんだ某家政婦のようにな
なんだバレてたのか
Face now pointed out the floor. Rimi gave an awkward sigh, then gazed up at me.
もしかしてタクも見てたの
そうだ俺とタクで決定的瞬間をバッチリ見てた
Dude, you don't just say that. I mean, can we just go on with the plot? The delusions are more of the game than the plot is.
なんだそれじゃあ必死にごまかそうとしてたのがバカみたいじゃない屋上に行ったらちょうど岸本さんがいたからつい気になってたことを質問しちゃったのそしたら機嫌損ねたみたい
What did she ask?
なんだよ気になってたことって
ねあなたはタクの何なのって
What she meant by that?
マジで宣戦布告ってやつか
まあそんなとこかな
Rimi looked bashful. Her gaze darted back and forth between me and the ground.
タクは渡さないからって言っちゃったしそしたら見事に叩かれたんだけどさ
すげえ女の戦いだな
Sumiko rustled my hair.
おいタクどうすんだどうすんだよ
What was he getting at here? I don't really understand. Actually, it was more like my mind got completely blank.
告られてんだぞお前もう付き合っちまえよ
Rimi and Sumiko instantly shoved me forward, cut off quite a stumble. And Rimi was right in the line of fire. Despite the laws of physics, I ended up with my arms around Rimi.
ごめん
I was pounding. Rimi's body was so soft and warm.
私
Trying to hurry up and get off of her, Rimi wrapped her arms around my back. She nervously brought me in close, hugging me. Electricity ran through me at Rimi's surprise attack. A moment of intimacy. Her tender warmth transferred right over to my body. I wanted to keep feeling that warmth. I wanted Rimi to be mine and mine alone. Taken over by those feelings, I hugged her supple body back. I realized that a silhouette standing behind Rimi's shoulder and turned to my field of vision. Uh-oh. Zayase, D-sword in hand, looking at me with an expression of bitter hatred. I couldn't hear what it was. I could tell she was mumbling something. I gulped. War was looming. Blood would be reaped without mercy. At that moment, whoops. It was quick. I had to escape as soon as possible, okay? Quick there.
おいタク何ぼーっとしてんだ行くぞ
Sumiko was calling for me. Rimi also waved for me beside him. Looking at a daze, I examined my surroundings. I was definitely not embracing Rimi. Yasuo was nowhere in sight.
ドキドキした
I could do without the cat fights. Yandere should just stay in the room with Tootie. I don't want anything to do with something actually like
タ
that.
ク早く来いって
I hurriedly chased after the two. Three of us, walking shoulder to shoulder, we made our way to the outpatient lobby. Outpatient reception area was already closed, meaning very few people were still around those. Were still there. However, the large TV screen at the end of the lobby was still surrounded by about 10 or so people.
何かな？
また新しいニュージェネでも起きたんじゃね？
Body Sefin at what Mizumi-kun so casually said. Immediately after that, Rimi went nonchalantly grasped my hand. Thanks to the warmth of her hand, my fear stopped there. The shit of my mind felt like it was melting away. Rimi was my sole support. Rimi gave me peace of mind. Rimi would sit by my side. I'd be a little too optimistic, but I felt that as long as Rimi would sit by my side, I could just barely endure any fear that might come my way. Thank God Rimi was here for me.
なあ、二人とも来てみろよ。
Sumi-kun already made it to the TV and was urging me and Rimi over to it. All the other people there, patients young and old, even some nurses, had gathered around the TV. Their eyes were glued to the screen. What the hell was going on?
行ってみよう。
Two of us moved to a place where we could see the TV, with me guiding along by Rimi's hand. I timidly turned my eyes to the screen. I looked at the captions on the screen, and I was completely dumbfounded. They got him! They got him! It was news report after the rest of the new gen culprit.
繰り返しお伝えします。今日午後3時半ごろ、警視庁渋谷署はいわゆるニュージェネレーションの凶器と呼ばれる渋谷で発生した一連の殺人事件のうち、9月29日に起きた通称貼り付け殺人事件の容疑者を逮捕しました。
Found one guy. He had the fingerprints.
殺人容疑で逮捕されたのは無職狛江田慎吾容疑者25歳です。容疑については先ほど渋谷署で行われた記者会見の通り、今のところ太田久さん殺害についてのみで、他の事件に関する容疑は今後追及していく構えです。狛江田容疑者は太田さん殺害については容疑を認めており、交際している女性が太田さんにしつこくつけ回され、カッとなって首を絞めた。しかしゾンビだったため死なず、貼り付けにして動きを止めた。
He was a zombie. They crucified him.
などと意味不明の供述をしています。警察の調べでは、狛江田容疑者には現在交際している女性がいないことが明らかになっており、薬物を摂取していた疑いもあるとみて捜査を進めています。
He was in a state of sheer disbelief. TV screen was repeatedly broadcasting a recording of the suspect being transported by car. Flashing coming from the mass media surrounding the car made the screen flicker violently. The suspect was completely covered by his jacket, so I couldn't see his face.
タク、
Mia whispered to me as I stared at the TV screen. Her hand squeezed my
やっ
own.
ぱりタクは犯人なんかじゃなかったし、将軍っていう人も単なるいたずらだったんだよ。楠木さんだって間違った推理をしてただけ。ね、これで何もかも解決。もう見えない影なんかに怯えることないんだよ。
Just right, since the culprit behind the crucifixion had been arrested, I'm not claiming it couldn't have been me. I haven't been sleepwalking, nor did I have multiple personalities. This proved that I was completely normal. At the same time, it wasn't just proved that I'd seen Rimi covered up in blood at the scene. It wasn't real. It had to be delusion I came up with. It was over. The nightmare that had been tormenting me for my months, or ended without months, was finally over. Being afraid of shadows, being afraid of God's gaze, and desperately to get a D sword. What's up? Do we GSDO? Let's see. It's cool. I mean, it's super interesting. It'd be like I don't want to say it's bad that I'm reading it it'd be a lot more fun if I didn't have to read everything, because the plot's really cool and the reading it kind of slows it down. Having to read everything out loud, but yeah, it's a really cool plot for sure. Because I mean, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's all over the place, this game. It definitely kind of makes you think one thing's happening and then changes it on you like again and again. Oh wait, what I missed there? I'm trying to get these. Those weren't necessary anymore. Oh yeah, the D sword. But even so, why? Why was there this feeling of unease deep within my chest? Shogun had been a prank, and the person behind it was just stalking me for shits and giggles. It just didn't feel realistic. Maybe I was only thinking about things like that because I'd pretty much forgotten all the normal logic and reasoning over the last month. My phone vibrated in my pocket. playing the RPG. Oh, really? Yeah, it gets really crazy. I was on Vibrate, but phones still didn't allowed in the hospital. I see. I already played Steins Gate too. I mean, this is way different, but it does have the kind of science, kind of like a hard sci-fi edge to it or something, like really kind of like deep science. Let go of Remy, exited the front entrance, and pulled out my phone.
はい。
Uh-oh.
誰
Braced myself. May pass. May have started playing again. Quickly went to check the name of the caller. Restricted number. So it was a really bad feeling, but I frankly went to hang up. No, they got Nanami. Horribly pained voice that comes through the phone was unmistakably Nanami's. And what's going on here?
ナミ
No, what? I thought she was fine. I thought she was okay. What's going on here? What is happening? Are the two Nanamis? Wait, is this another character now? The shop specialized in Garo Frog merchandise was known as Top Frog. I was likely an attempt to leave a good impression on its customer base, but Bond could only sigh. Okay, it is. Something like a dad joke. Alright. Just stop this here. Now we have a place I actually gotta stop here. Between like characters. I'll keep going a little bit. Let me get back to because every time it switches characters, it's always a good time to stop, because then you're like, you're like in the middle of something. Bond was currently visiting the very first branch situated in Harajuku, a place often cited as paradise by the biggest Garo Froggy fans. Bond, however, quickly came to regret this decision.
なあ、ゆあちゃん。帰っていいか
He spoke in a low voice to Yua. The girl got into the shop.
でも、百瀬さんからゲロカエルンを買ってくるように頼まれてるんじゃ。
だってよ、おじさんだけ明らかに浮いてるからさ。
Like crazy. Of course, the young people happily trotted along Takeshita Dori. Well, I went along Takeshita Dori when I was there. But the vast majority passed by without even so much as glancing at the shop. I went into Takeshita Dori, they had like this... Takeshita Dori is like this giant like street with like a kind of like a market. It's like a walking street, but it's like, there's a big walking street part of it. There's like a, it's all like shops and like markets and stuff. And at one end of it, there was like... They have like some like giant like sign that goes over the top of the whole walkway or whatever. This giant like it's like a big screen, but it's got like a big border around it. And on the screen is like it's like just like someone had a camera. They had like a camera set up, so like it just like shows people walking down the street like a little bit further down from where the screen is. Like when you walk into the street, like walk down there, suddenly you're on the screen for a second. And there's just like a giant crowd of people just standing there looking at this stupid thing. It's like, oh my god, it's like the dumbest thing ever. There's like maybe like 100 people. I mean, I guess maybe it was like a famous photo spot in Tokyo. Yeah, that's probably why. Because everybody's trying to get their picture, trying to get this right perfect picture or something. It was just so dumb. But I was walking the other way. I was walking like I didn't see the screen at first. I was walking from behind the screen. See the people like up the edge, at the edge of the street or whatever. I'm like, what else are people doing up there? And I go up and see them. I was like, oh my god, it's just this. Only a few people were standing inside the actual store. In fact, aside from Ban and Yua, there were only 3 customers in total. Oh yeah, and it was like really old too. It was because it was like kind of like the sign was like really pixely and it was like kind of a delay and it was like a really bad frame rate and stuff. It was like it's probably been there for like a long, it wasn't like that modern or something. The camera wasn't like new. In fact, aside from Ban and Yua, there were only 3 customers in total, all of which were high school girls. The Ban's unkempt appearance, walking along Takeshita Dori with Yua, inevitably served to portray him as a man of obscene intentions. Yeah. Just gonna buy one of these plushies that were so popular nowadays, but that was a stereotypical pervert would say. There's a brought down Bun's spirits considerably. On top of that,
なんか誰かに見られてるような気がするんだよな。いい年して自意識過剰かもしんねえが。
あ、それ私もです。最近誰かの視線を感じて、たまにすごく 怖くなるんですよ。
なんだ、俺だけじゃなかったか。ユアちゃんの場合は心配だな。ストーカーに付け狙われてたりしたら。
そんな怖いこと言わないでください。
安心しな。そんな奴がいたら俺が逮捕してやるから。
Resolving the topic with a grin, Bond stared fixedly at various frog characters lined up on the shelves.
ところで、ユアちゃんはここに来るのは何度目だ？
私も初めてで
What?
す。
How do you have the girl Froggy?
あんまり客がいねえようだが。静かなブームってやつなのか？
金曜日から日曜日にかけてはすごく混んでるらしいです。つまり新作が発売されて週末の間だけですね。
Oh, yeah.
特に金曜日はものすごく並ぶらしくて、学生のために18時に販売開始なんですけど、噂だとその行列だけで竹下通りが埋め尽くされるとか。
The whole street? Multiple blocks.
週末だけねえ。ますます怪しいな。
Shumatsu's weekend. Bond went to pick up the two of the teary Garo Froggies that had been released last week and headed to the register. Yua, not buying anything herself, followed behind him.
射精
Stormflow was a vacuous-looking man in his 20s. His hair had been dyed green, and he had earrings in. If you're not behind the register, he certainly wouldn't look like a clerk to pass an observer. At the very least, it was no outfit to be serving customers in. Employees stared at the two of them without relent nor restraint.
娘さんへのプレゼントってやつっすか？
Musume.
そうなんだよね。この子がどうしてもって言うから。
Eh?
まあ、たまには父親らしいことしてやらんとね。
Unforced smiles looked ingratiatingly at the younger shop clerk. His gaze filled with fear as her face turned to one of shock. Nonetheless, she did not break the father-daughter charade.
それより、このカエルに興味あるんだけど、ちょっと話聞かせてもらっていいかな？ゲコカエルンってそんなに人気あるの？
っていうかゲロカエルんすよ。バンバン人気あってやばいっす。
Turbo bonkers popular, dude.
ゲプカエルンね。いつも週末に新作が出るんでしょ。
What, Gepu?
ゲロカエルんだって言ってんじゃんマジ。っていうか新作とかそういう言い方マジやめてよ。新ガエルだから。
Avant Garo buddies.
金土日と超並んでバンバン売れるんでマジやばいっすよ。マジでバンバン売れるっすから。
You can just say kin, and that counts as fry instead of kin yobi for Friday? I didn't know you could do that.
バンバンっすよマジで。
Yua's brow narrowed in response to the young man. Bonkers seemed to be a favorite word among the shop clerk, and something felt odd to her about it. He's emphasizing part of it so much, she wondered. It was looking not intentional, but I almost felt like the young clerk was saying Bond's name in some capacity. Oh, because it's actually like
これ
bonkers.
メイドインチャイナってラベルに書いてあるだけなんだけど、メーカーとかわかる？
は？メーカー？つうかゲロカエルにブランドとかねえし、ゲロカエルはゲロカエルんじゃね？それで完結してね。おっさんマジウケんだけど。教えとくと、ゲロカエルンって作ってんじゃねえから。マジバンバン生まれてっから。
Banban is bonkers. Surprisingly, the conversation was getting to be too much for Bond, even on the verge of rupture. In order to prevent this, he swiftly ended the conversation, handed over the money, then left the store with Yua in tow.
店員の教育がなってねえな。今時の若い連中ときたらもうろくに会話もできやしねえ。大体なんだあの格好は。もう
そうですね。
Oh, that slang, yeah. Yua came to an abrupt halt. She grabbed Bond's suit cuff and pulled him to a stop as well.
見てください、バンさん。
どうした？
Yua was pointing in the direction of the white two-ton truck. was pulled over on the side of the road, and a number of cardboard boxes were even loaded from the cargo bed. Boxes were carried one after the other to the back of the Gero Froggy shop.
明日発売になるゲジカエルンの新作か。
Gero Frogipedes.
ゲロカエルンです。
ゆあちゃん、よく見つけたな。偉いぞ。
いえ、そんな。
Usually the cargo bed of a truck would have company logo or name or logo emblazoned on it somewhere, but the one before Bon and Yua were completely blank. However, the cardboard boxes being carried inside had something resembling a company name written beside the Gero Froggy illustrations.
有限会社振興。
Faithworks. Uh-oh.
聞いたことあるかい？
And religious.
ありません。
となれば困った時のももちゃん頼みだな。
Momose. I better save it here if this is going back to... Okay, better save it here. This is going to go back to Ikumi at this point. Alright. This game is insane. What is happening? She made it to chapter 8, but dude, this is like... How many chapters are in this game? Then I have to like play the other path. Where are even the paths? I don't even know where the paths like diverge or anything. I don't even know how this game works exactly. I'm starting to think that all these like delusions don't actually really do anything, or they don't mean anything. You can I think you can skip them too if you don't select either one. All right. Anyways, thanks for hanging on, everyone. I had a lot of fun once again today. I'll be back for more of this on Wednesday. That'll be, let's see. That'll be at around, yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for hanging around though. That'll be at around 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time again on Wednesday. Tomorrow I have more wrestling. That'll be at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Definitely come back for that. Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks Zoo Evil. So definitely come back for that if you can. Let's find someone to raid here. Oh, wait, we got a Steam. Where's music? Oh, I have all these now. There we go. Thanks, yeah. Sorry I got to kind of at the end of the stream. Yeah, I feel like 3 hours of that, I don't know, it's kind of tough. There's just a lot of talking in it. Sometimes there's not. When it's not Takumi-kun, the other guys talk all the time. But it's Takumi-kun, it's all like internal dialogue. Alright. There's the credits. There's someone we can raid. There we have a great day. Oops. Let's see. There's Akira playing Final Fantasy. Sumo's over, the solo darling. It's a good Pete. Raid a good Pete. Alright. Definitely give a good Pete a follow. Good friends here on Twitch watching this dating show again. Alright. Everybody, please have a good week. And yeah, come back Tuesday for some more wrestling, Wednesday for some more gaming. And oh, the weekend schedule's still kind of up in the air because of SummerSlam. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Figure it out this weekend or maybe on Tuesday or Thursday. But everybody have a good day. Hope to see you again soon. Say hello, say goodbye.
Or like, she loves him, it's her son, it's her duty. No, I don't think so, Mark.
My mum's vicious as well. She does everything for me, and I can make the bed, I can cook the egg, I'll do anything.